generation of warfare, psychological warfare. In modern conflict, the mind is a potent weapon. Discover General Michael T. Flynn's groundbreaking guide, The Citizen's Guide to Fifth Generation Warfare. Unlock tactics, strategies, and the mindset to navigate this cognitive battlefield that we all find ourselves in. Equip yourself against manipulation and emerge unscathed. Unleash your potential. Order now.
Party people. Oh, guess who's back again. I'm not going there. 90s time, right? Welcome to the AlphaWarrior Show, folks. It is August 11th, 2026. It is 4:42 p.m. local time. I'm over here on the West Coast. I would argue the best coast. 7:42 for all of you on the East Coast. Maybe a future home for me. We will see. We're in just Alpha 2.0, and we're on the clock, folks, because we got DEF CON starting at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. So we're just under that 3-hour mark because I'd like to be able to eat before the next show. But if I got to sacrifice dinner for you, let's fucking go. That's the way it is. Glad to see the 5x5s coming in. That's how I know you guys are the OGs. What are we going to talk about tonight? Stuff we didn't really get to yesterday. We're going to talk about Deep State, Hunter Biden, and Tucker Carlson. Bffs? What the? Seriously. Comey files. We're going to dive into that. China. Here comes the booms. And then it's Flynns' turn. And then the cool thing is if we don't get into all the QD codes tonight, I'll incorporate those into DEF CON tonight. But I think we are good. Now, I do have some exciting news. This is super cool. This rolled out for me a few days ago. Got the early invite. So I was like, yeah, let me check this out. What am I talking about? Let me bring this up on the screen so you guys can grab this QR code. You should see it right about now. Yes, there it is. Patriot Social, folks. This is cool. So like I said, I've been on there a few days. I'm going to start becoming even more active on there. But here's the thing I said. Let me bring this up on the screen real quick so some of you guys can screenshot this. There you have it. Alfredo Luna, right? AlphaWarrior is my handle over there. And you also see that link on the live chat. You also see the link down in the description if you're watching the replay. So again, my handle Alpha, not AlphaWarrior, Alpha, because I got in there quick. So I was able to snatch up Alpha before anybody else did. But this thing is cool. Hopefully you guys can see on my screen right there. But as I get into kind of my experience with this, here's what I want to tell you guys. Everybody that goes and gets this tonight or tomorrow during the replay, follow me because I'm going to be on a follow back binge. I don't think that there's a limit. And if there is, well, then it'll probably just take me longer than a few days. But you want to go to patriotsocial.com. You want to go to the profile Alpha if you want to follow me. If you search it, it could be pretty easy. What I'm going to say is, because I'm not going to knock on any other social media platforms, but what I will say is, we want to be diversified. Information warfare, you guys know, what do I call these other platforms? The trenches of information warfare. We want to reach different audiences. This is really cool because in the event that we were to come under a situation where we started to get deplatformed or purge, or you get thrown into a jail because of some mass reporting, we always have fallback positions. And what I like about this one is this is something that I see that has the potential to be one of the popular platforms, because a lot of us that are on other platforms have kind of griped about this and why don't they do this and incorporate this platform at Patriot Social. It did all that. And one of the cool things that's on there, let me go to my profile so you guys can see this. I'm at 36 followers right now, following 7. But when you go to rewards, it's really cool. It's kind of like this little incentive, has all these different things that you can see. As you're active on there, it just kind of has like this built-in program where you accumulate points, and then you can turn these points into get like a Trump coin or a Trump was right about everything. But on top of that, it has everything, folks, the news, the community, and it'd be super cool if one of you, or maybe a few of you, feel like taking on the task. I want to create an Alpha Warrior community. something very specific to me and this show. And I know that's extra work, so I'm not asking anybody to commit to it, but if I have some people that are willing to, that'd be awesome. So again, folks, you want to go to patriotsocial.com, and the profile is Alpha. That link's down in the description. That link is also in the live chat. And again, everybody that jumps on there and follows me tonight, tomorrow, over the next 2 days or so, I'm going to be on a follow back binge because I know you guys are coming from my podcast. So that's how I know you guys are my people. So whatever platform you're watching on, again, go there. It's super cool. And again, out of its inception, it's a lot of fun. So with that, folks, now let's get into the showtime. Let me bring this up on the screen. Put me down in my position. I'm fired up right now. And I haven't had my coffee yet because I'm saving it for DEF CON. Let me see what's going on. Princess of Galindo says, I missed the live, but watched it this morning during work. Shh. Oh, Princess Galindo's got busted. No, it was a late show last night. So don't feel bad about it. As a matter of fact, you showed up and you watched it, and I got so much feedback from you guys. So I just want to say thank you. Even some of the constructive criticism in there, I get it. But let's get into that opening video. It came from General Flynn. Let me bring something up on the screen so I make sure I'm seeing what you're seeing. He puts, the America First movement divide must end. Now, again, for the last couple of years, we've been talking about, people were saying there was a divide. People were saying that there's fracturing in MAGA. I have never subscribed to that. I've never. Have there been attempts to divide the community? Yes. Have there been attempts to divide MAGA, America First? Yes. Have there been attempts to separate it into cliques and make them oppose each other? Yes, there's been the attempts, but they've never been able to accomplish it. And I think, one, because we all been doing our job. Two, is there's a difference between a fracturing, a divide, and a filtering. And there's a lot of people that infiltrated the American movement, and we've been filtering those people out, and they've been trying to sell it as a divide. However, as it got towards the end and the bad guys started to get filtered out, it started to get a little too extreme to where if there was differences of opinions, people were like, you're a Fed, you're deep state, it got carried away. And again, it's because there's no real formal training to what's going on, although we try with these podcasts, right? So now we're to the point where we do need to come together. We talked about this last night. We're going to start there again today. So the general says, we are the plan. Now, why is that important at the brink of the show, right? Because the general always shits on Q. He shits on the plan. And I always tell people, can you articulate what the plan is? And what's the general saying right now? We are the plan. Shout out to our community. I'll say that much. America's non-negotiables. Number one, call out COVID for what it is, a crime against humanity. Check. We will always protect our children. Check. Election integrity is mandatory. Check. Sovereignty must be protected at all costs. Check. Not anti-war, just anti-stupid war. He heard him say it in the video. You guys have heard me say this. People come up to me and like, oh, Alpha, you're changing your positions. I said, I've never said I was against war. I said, I'm against bankers' wars. I'm against propaganda wars. But I've worked the streets. I've seen the level of evil that exists out there, and that level of evil is never going to surrender, and it's not going to go away until you absolutely destroy it till it's not breathing anymore. So with that, there'll be a time for righteous wars, and when that happens, maybe they'll let me sign up. Number 6, demand accountability. Number 7, stop using our tax money to fund all forms of corruption. Recognize, and I would argue, let's even get away from taxes in general, move to tariffs. I think that's what Trump's plans are. Number 8, recognize that this is a spiritual battle between globalism and American Christian principles, 100%. Number 9, Sharia law is not compatible with constitutional law, nor is it compatible with just being humane. Number 10, American patriots will never quit. Local action equals national impact. I can respect Tucker Carlson's 10-point proposal. I don't like Tucker Carlson. You guys know my position there. But may I suggest increased strength in a few areas? Honest, optimistic, wise, and united are a bit vague. I would adjust to these: demand accountability, demand accountability, demand accountability, and to only unite with those who love and fight for this country. To the others, war. And as a matter of fact, I got a cool little clip for that.
All the people that have gone out there against the mainstream media and said, you're going to call us racist, you're going to call us potential Timothy McVeigh's. Fuck you. War.
Damn, you don't feel that pulsating through your body right now. Shout out over there on YouTube. Saw the super chat come in. If any Rumble rants come in, I will be reading those before we call it a night tonight. So just know I'm not missing them. And I definitely appreciate when you guys drop some. That was a major super chat. So thank you early. And we'll move on to that. Let's get into a little headlines and then we'll get right into the themes. The White House today at my direction, Dr. Oz announced that Medicaid will no longer fund gender transition surgeries and hormones for minors. Just think about all the young, innocent, and perhaps confused children who will be spared. President Donald J. Trump. This is a huge win, folks, especially for those weak-ass parents that look at their kids like Starbucks and a trending purse or a trending pair of shoes and subjected their kids to this because for whatever reason, this is going to remove the funding for them to facilitate that. So again, win from the president on this one right here. Let's keep going because we're not done. Bethany O'Leary puts out breaking. Trump just signaled an executive order with RFK Jr. to slash the current childhood vaccine schedule. For years, the CDC recommended schedule stacked up to around 72 doses from birth age to 18. That's 17 diseases on paper, but it added up to around 72 individual shots and boosters by age 18. They're cutting it down to 11 core vaccines. In the 1970s, 80s, it was a fraction of what it is now. This reduction is long overdue. Now, check this cool little thing out. When you go over here to Grok, these little Grok symbols, right? I put, break this down simply for me and check out what it does. Now, again, I would always advise double check this stuff. Just because it shows you a link, don't assume that the receipt is real. They've been pretty good at getting rid of the hallucinations. Haven't seen them in a while, but it's still a machine, folks. But it says this, what the Post claims. President Trump, with RFK Jr. involved, just signed an executive order that cuts the recommended childhood vaccine schedule way down. It says that the old CDC schedule stacked up to 72 shots. This is crazy, folks. You guys know what I've been dealing with here in California. It says what actually happened August 10th, Trump signed an executive order creating the gold standard childhood vaccine recommendations. It is real and was done with RFK Jr., HHS Secretary present. The key changes in plain English. Universal, recommended for all kids, vaccines against only 11 diseases, measles, mumps, rubella, diphtheria, tetanus, whooping cough, on and on. Everything else, AB, rotavirus, flu, COVID-19, RSV, etc., moves to either high-risk groups only or shared clinical decision-making. Parents and doctor decide to do it together, but it's not mandated. Now, here's what I'll say. My two little angels, purebloods, they don't got anything in them, and that's where I want us to be. But if there are people out there that choose to do it, then it's their choice as well. Same way I'll make the choice as a father, along with their mother, for our kids. Other parents may not agree with us. I just want it to be a choice. And they're moving in that direction. Completely remove the mandate so that none of these things are an issue. This just means we're one step closer to that. So again, a move in the right direction. I'm still chalking this up to a win. On top of that, I'm going to play this video clip. So let me bring this up right here so I don't miss it. Constitution X puts out Holy Swamp Fox Alert. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just dropped a nuclear bombshell live on camera, and the entire deep state is shaking. What is he talking about? Listen to this.
That the spirit of Charleston is with us. That one of my ancestors fought with Francis Marion, the swamp fox, which I think I'm going to get in trouble here, is also my Secret Service name. And I did well, when I chose it, I didn't realize it had two meanings. So, but I can tell you that everybody who came before you all would be so proud to see you all standing here on the 250th anniversary of our great country. And Senator Graham loved the military.
Warhawk, good guy. Warhawk, bad guy. Different conversation. But Scott picking the Secret Service name Swanton Fox says it all. Now, what really caught my attention here, let me scroll down right here, is Hegseth's response when Scott says, I'm probably going to get in trouble here. And Heck says this laughing. This is pure speculation, but from being in with groups of buddies where one guy says, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, it's usually because there's a prior conversation that the two parties are aware of, or maybe more, but in this case, Pete and Scott, to where they were joking about this. He's like, I'm going to say it. And Pete probably said, I don't know about that one, brother. And Scott just, shot from the hip and said, I'm going to put it out there. And Pete just laughs because, one, if they're having the level of confidence to kind of do these, I would call these soft jokes at a time where we are battling. Again, that is something that warriors are aware of. People say, oh, how can you be that funny, when we're fighting for humanity? Because guys that are from war, warriors, learn how to laugh during conflict. It's how you survive. It's how you become an old man in a war where people die young, right? It's this mentality. And to see these guys have that chuckle with regards to talking about the swamp, this tells me that these guys are operating from high ground, from a win. This is not the mentality or attitude you have when you're concerned about losing. This is the mentality and the attitude and the showmanship you have when you know you're winning. So aside from the swamp fox and all that, the personalities that we're seeing there, that means something to me. So then we move into this one. John Solomon, DOJ to conduct poll monitoring in the Minnesota primary. This is very short, so I'm going to read it for you guys. Let me just close these ads that keep popping up. Hopefully you guys don't see them. The Department of Justice on Tuesday will conduct poll monitoring in Minnesota counties during the state's primary elections. The operation will take place in Hennepin and Ramsey counties and include roughly 20 personnel from the DOJ's Civil Rights Division and the Minnesota U.S. Attorney's Office. Minnesota is DOJ's next stop on its nationwide effort to ensure free and fair elections, Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon said in a statement. The DOJ is committed to non-discriminatory monitoring throughout the primary and general election seasons. The effort comes as Trump's administration works with states to clean up voter rolls and has attempted to crack down on voter fraud across the nation. Minnesota voters are set to choose party nominees for the governor's race and several down-ballot contests. Again, there's a lot going on, and there's a major hat tip that we got. And if you guys have been following me or me and Josh, the shows that we did, we got signaled today. It's probably why I got such a cheesy ass grin on my face, because I know there's an I told you so coming in this show, and I want to hurry up and get to it. I am on daddy duty right now too, so if you hear my little ones yelling and stuff, or if I got to run away, I'll probably just play a clip so I can do it. So again, one man show, folks, and hopefully you guys will roll with me if I have to run and go yell and behave, right? I want to go to this too. Toria Brooke puts out tonight, newly sworn in Attorney General Todd Blanche received a standing ovation and warm welcome as he arrived to the Department of Justice. There was something about this entrance. I'm going to hit play here while I'm talking that I don't know what it is. There's just something here. I'm paying a lot of attention to body language these last couple of days. And there's something here of again, also joy and confidence. Once he gets closer to one of the door panes, he goes and reaches in, actually really gives a guy a good shoulder hug. So you can tell that there's some type of relationship there. But, you guys know, I was very, very critical of Blanche and Susie Walls at the front end of this administration. Didn't like what I was hearing behind the curtain, and I didn't like what I was seeing on the public forum. And this is one of those ones that I'm probably going to end up being wrong on my earlier position on Blanche. And if that comes to be the case, which it looks like it's going to be, I'm happy to be wrong about that one, because I was telling you what, folks, when we go to early last year and some of the stuff that was going on, surrounding, Pam Bondi and Blanche, and again, stuff I was hearing behind the scene that you're saying, well, you never told us. Yes, because my level of confidence to share it wasn't there. And this is probably why. This is why I trust my gut on what I share and what I don't share. And right now, it's looking like this dude is going to turn out to be solid. And I know people are going to argue, but his connection here and his connection there, again, go watch previous shows. Infiltration works both ways, folks. Let's get going because we are on the clock. Then it brings us to this one. And then we're going to get into our theme with Hunter and Tucker BFFs. But Ed Martin showed this not one time, 2 times. So what does that tell me? Because you guys know I love Ed. that this is important, and he wants to make sure that we talk about it and that you see this. So he has this one from his personal account, and then he has this one from his public account. And I am going to hit play, and you guys tell me what you think afterwards.
It's 1823. The map of the Americas is being redrawn. Spain has spent centuries amassing a new world empire stretching from Patagonia to California. Now their grip was slipping fast. One by one, Spain's colonies are declaring independence. And back in Europe, the old empires are not taking it well. They're asking themselves, what's to stop us from taking it all back? The United States had come into being mere decades ago in the Revolution. Then we fought Britain again in the War of 1812. America was concerned of the involvement of foreign empires in the New World. Now, America sensed an opportunity to establish a new order. Britain, focused on protecting its trade with the emerging nation, proposed a joint declaration with the United States to deter intervention. But Secretary of State John Quincy Adams, suspicious of British motives, convinced President James Monroe to act independently. Monroe then declared a decree to Congress, among the boldest diplomatic statements in American history.
The American continents, by the free and independent condition which they have assumed and maintained, are henceforth not to be considered as subjects for future colonization by any European powers.
The United States, still a young frontier nation, positioned itself as the preeminent power in the New World and set the stage for centuries of American foreign policy in our hemisphere. This decree transformed America's role and standing in the global order, though initially relying on the deterrence of the British Navy to enforce it. For decades, the doctrine served as a defensive shield while America expanded westward. It was invoked when the French installed an emperor in Mexico, forcing their eventual withdrawal. It shaped debates over attempted annexations like the Dominican Republic. But these were defensive applications, keeping European powers out, not asserting American control over the hemisphere's affairs. That changed in 1895, when Secretary of State Richard Olney invoked the doctrine, declaring that the United States was practically sovereign over the Western Hemisphere and demanded Britain submit to American arbitration. He had redefined the doctrine. It was no longer just a warning, it was now a claim to regional primacy. 3 years later, war with Spain erupted, and when the smoke cleared, it transformed the hemisphere. The United States expelled Spain from Cuba, seized Puerto Rico, and stepped into the world stage as a genuine imperial power with dominance over the Caribbean. Just 4 years later, that dominance was tested again. German and British warships sailed into Venezuelan waters and blockaded its ports over unpaid debts. Roosevelt intervened and declared if a Latin American nation fell into chaos or instability, the U.S. would step in and manage it. The doctrine had started as a shield. Roosevelt had just turned it into a mandate. A critical opportunity for American leadership in the Western Hemisphere came in 1903, when Panama sought independence from Colombia. Both Europe and the U.S. had long wanted a canal in Central America, allowing ships to cross from the Atlantic to the Pacific. After a failed French attempt, the United States saw an opening in a region with shifting political dynamics. The U.S. backed Panamanian independence and secured a deal to construct, operate, and defend the Panama Canal. The waterway would go on to become the hemisphere's most critical artery for trade, a strategic asset for both world wars, and a testament to America's enduring leadership in the region. When Soviet missiles were discovered in Cuba in 1962, Kennedy didn't need to invent a new framework. He simply invoked the doctrine. The weapons had to go. 13 days of the most dangerous standoff in human history ended with the Soviets backing down and removing the missiles from Cuba. Reagan applied the same logic to justify opposition to Soviet-backed Sandinista regime in Nicaragua and other Marxist groups, arguing that ideological threats required the same response as military ones. Fast forward to the modern era, where the doctrine has found its latest champion in President Trump. Through the execution of Operation Absolute Resolve, the United States seized Venezuelan dictator Nicolás Maduro, transporting him to American soil to answer for charges of narco-terrorism. This calculated maneuver delivered a resident signal across the hemisphere, punctuated by President Trump's own declaration.
Under our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again.
Over 2 centuries, Monroe's declaration had shaped U.S. foreign policy across administrations and throughout fundamentally different geopolitical eras. What began as a warning to European powers evolved into a framework for regional dominance, one that remains the cornerstone of American strategy in the hemisphere today.
Now, again, if Eagle Ed Martin would get our attention on this, not once, but twice, you understand the significance of what he's trying to tell us there. Watch this, learn it. Hopefully some of you guys can clip that and share it. Or if you don't have X, if you have X, go to Eagle Ed Martin's page, and either one of them, his government one or personal one, they both have it, and share this out too. What is this getting us to start thinking about? Are we looking at this kind of situation developing now? I would say yes. And I think we've seen some of it already. Again, he talked about Maduro. There's a lot of parallels from the Cuban Missile Crisis under JFK and what we've seen now with Trump in Iran and Trump in Venezuela. However, Cuba's on the horizon. But again, is this more to prep us for a mindset that's going to involve something with China? There's a lot of that. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. But again, this had Ed's attention. I wanted to make sure that it got mine and showed it to you guys. So with that, let's start setting up the Podcanistan and all the pod sloppers that are out there. So John Solomon puts out, MTG, Tucker Carlson, and Thomas Massie may be planning to launch new political party. Some of you may like her, some of you may not. Laura Loomer, when she does hit one, she does hit it pretty hard. She puts, MTG announces a new movement has begun with her husband, Brian Glenn, Tucker Carlson, Thomas Massie, his wife he married immediately after his wife of 30 years died, Joe Kent, and Joe Kent's wife, who works for the radical left operative Max Blumenthal, whose electronics were just seized by the Trump DHS after he returned from Iran, where he attended the Ayatollah's funeral, where attendees were chanting "Death to America" and "Kill Trump." Pretty hard opening statement that's still factual coming from Laura Loomer on that one. Every single one of these people belongs on a government watch list. Every person in this photo is a traitor to America and an anti-Trump operative amplified by foreign adversaries. Now, let's just have, I'm not going to spend too much time here, but I want to address it because I get a lot of you that are like, but Alpha, I think Tucker is working on the other side. Could be. I don't subscribe to that. Again, this is a rule of thumb for me. I'm not saying that this is a have all be all. This is an absolute rule. This is a rule for me. When I'm looking to see if somebody is potentially an operative, one of the things that I look at is the action, whether it be a physical one, a verbal one, or symbolism. Is the action they're doing going to create a absolute predetermined outcome, something within a reasonable margin of an expectation? Because then to me, that is a controlled operation. That is something that I would believe and subscribe to. If the action is something that's going to create a situation that's too volatile, you can't predict the outcome, then and the chance for chaos is as equal to the chance of success, I do not measure that as an operation, because I wouldn't do that risk in an operation. And the people that are running the operation at play right now are much smarter and more diligent than I am when it comes to planning those operations. So I don't think that they would take that measure either. So when I see something like this, what I will say is, could he be unknowingly being used? I would subscribe to that because it is doing an exposure. Now, does that mean that rule applies to every single person at that table right now? Just so people understand that. As it stands, my opinion on all these people is that they are not pro-Trump, they are not pro-American, they don't have America's best interest at hand. That is my position. Now, could it be to make the underground monkeys feel comfortable to come to the surface? And maybe we find out that later. It could be. But it's, again, and I've said this for those of you that have been following me for a couple of years, I've said this a few times. Do not spend all your energy and thought process saying, well, I think this person is this, and that's why they're doing this, which means that means now I'll respond or react like this. Because there's so many unpredictables there that if they were working an operation to bring stuff to the surface or generate conversation, you would be ruining that operation because you're trying to think too many unknowns into it. So start here. What is your mission? What is your principles? What are your convictions? And regardless of the person, and shout out to Defender of the Republic, Kaidi, who did a phenomenal post. I actually think I have it in here. If I don't, then I'll be sharing it on next Monday. Is don't be loyal to the people to the point of sacrificing your principles and convictions. Know what your mission is. So again, what I see here is people that are soft and won't comment on China. And I've had this position for a year and a half at least now, if not longer, on some of them. And I have Trump that comes out and addressed the nation, 2 weeks ago or so, who said that China, the CCP, the deep state of part of it, is, getting influencers and people of influence in our country, especially within the media, to do operations. These people's actions fit that. So to be determined. But again, I just want to set that as a foundation as we move forward here. And to give an example of that, Paramount Tactical, you guys know I've had Gary on the show. He goes, attention all pod sloppers. I know you have selective hearing when it comes to basic facts. Lance Twiggs' DNA was not on the rifle. Now, why does this matter? And what does this have to do with Tucker and Hunter? I'm trying to get you guys to recognize the way these people weaponize narratives that are just not true. Because Tucker's one that has entertained and given Candace credibility with her positions when it comes to Charlie Kirk and the assassination with Tyler Robinson being the suspect. He is, if not directly endorsed it, he has at least absolutely implied that he believes that Candace is operating in good faith, which I absolutely do not. So I want to play this clip right here for you guys so you guys can kind of see this and get a foundation.
Exhibits 1.1 and 1.4. Do you know what that is referring to?
Yeah, they're referring to 1.1 is swabs of the stock and grips of the rifle, and then 1.4 is swabs of the bolt of the rifle with possible ridge detail and or smudging.
Okay. Will you read paragraph D?
Yes. The DNA profiles are at least 1 trillion times more likely if they originated from Tyler Robinson, Exhibit 7.1, as a contributor to the major components and 3 unrelated unknown individuals than if they originated from 4 unrelated unknown individuals.
And again, that's swabs of the grips and the bolt. Stock and grips and bolt, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Number 2, calculation number 2. Where is this swab taken from?
Exhibit 1.2 would be swabs of the butt plate of the rifle.
And will you read paragraph D here?
The DNA profile is at least 1 trillion times more likely if it originated from Tyler Robinson as a major component and 4 unrelated unknown individuals than if it originated from 5 unrelated unknown individuals.
Looking at calculation number 3, exhibit 1.3. What areas were swabbed for this comparison?
1.3 is swabs of the trigger and trigger guard of the rifle with possible ridge detail and or smudging.
Will you read paragraph D?
The DNA profile is at least 1 trillion times more likely if it originated from Tyler Robinson as a major component and 3 unrelated unknown individuals than if it originated from 4 unrelated unknown individuals.
If we can go to page 6. Calculation number 4, exhibits 1.5 and 5.1. What are those?
1.5 are swabs of the forend of the rifle, and 5.1 is swabs of one 30-06 cartridge.
And again, that cartridge came from where?
From the firearm.
Will you read paragraph D?
The DNA profiles are at least 1 trillion times more likely if they originated from Tyler Robinson as the major components and 2 unrelated unknown individuals than if they originated from 3 unrelated unknown individuals.
All right, let's look at calculation number 5, 1.6 and 3.1. What are those?
1.6 is swabs of the barrel of the rifle with possible ridge detail and or smudging, and 3.1 is swabs of one 30-06 cartridge.
And that 30-06 cartridge came from where?
From the firearm.
Will you read paragraph D?
The DNA profiles are at least 1 trillion times more likely if they originated from Tyler Robinson as a contributor to the major components and 2 unrelated unknown individuals than if they originated from 3 unrelated unknown individuals.
Okay, statistical analysis calculation number 6, exhibit 1.9, where is that from?
1.9 is the swabs of possible ridge detail and or smudging on the optical accessory of the rifle.
Is that a scope?
Yes.
Okay. Will you read paragraph D?
The DNA profile is 6.28 billion times more likely if it originated from Tyler Robinson as a contributor to the major component and 3 unrelated unknown individuals than if it originated from 4 unrelated unknown individuals.
Okay. On number 7, I'm not going to read that. I think we've gone through this enough. That's the last one in this report. Is that correct?
Yes.
So again, folks, why does this matter? Because when you look at the pod sloppers, Podcanistan, first there was no way Tyler Robinson was ever at the university. You remember that? Weeks of that. So all of a sudden the evidence comes out, like I said it would in prelim, and it's, well, he was there, but he's not the one that took the shot on the roof, right? And again, the evidence was there. Then they go and they start pushing, well, Lance Twiggs's DNA is on the rifle. And as you heard, no, it's not. But yet this is what they push. And people that had the platform of Tucker Carlson, he can sit there and say, hey, look, if you want to form that opinion, if you want to speculate, have at it. We're all entitled to that. But don't sit here and call other people's liars, because this is what we heard in the court case under penalty of perjury. And this is what the evidence supports. This is the factual evidence. Because all these pod sloppers from Podcanistan that are pushing these narratives, I saw so many got destroyed today on the X virtual town halls. It was absolutely gorgeous. When they put out there and then they were confronted with, and what's that based off? Where's the facts? Well, and they couldn't because they don't exist. They're not there. And so with this understanding, that mentality will shift more into the Tucker position of this now. Erica California 47 puts out Tucker's views 2 months ago versus Tucker's views most recently. Cut in half. Significant, folks. Turns out most Americans don't like treachery, being lied to, constant blackpilling, and blaming the Jews for you being a POS human. You will see people start to shift when they realize that they milked the op dry. Don't let them back in. And this don't let them back in is extremely critical to me. Outside of us learning somewhere way down the pipeline that we get actual legitimate someone in a position of power within the government, Trump, Hegseth, that says, hey, these people actually were operating with us to help control the narrative, then I'd be like, all right, they're playing a role. Absent of that, fork all these people that try to get you to flip on our president and try to get you to side with extreme Islamic Muslim Brotherhood people out there and only make you think that it's the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. We've had that conversation, right? No, this is not a, if you identify the Muslims, then you're a Zionist. If you support the Zionists, then no. It's I support America. That's where it ends. And that's the mentality all of us should have adopted. I'm not going to go too long of these rants as much as I want to, because some of this stuff really gets to me. I want to make sure that we cover as much content, if not all of it, tonight before we get into DEFCON. Then we get Kim.com. If you guys are unfamiliar with them, I'm not going to go into the entire story here, but there's a lot of criminal actions that have surfaced regarding Kim.com in the United States government. Some may see that as heroic. Some may see that as bad. Irregardless, this is a controversial person who has also attacked Trump religiously, calling Trump a pedophile protector, right? Trying to make sure that we survive over there on the YouTube platform. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. If you're enjoying the content, do me a solid. Push that little heart, hit the thumb, leave a comment, share this out. The numbers are already looking good, so thank you for everybody for that, but let's see if we can get them a little higher. But one thing I found interesting in this photo, and I'm curious if you guys caught it, is right above Kim.com's head is this like weird shaped lamp, right? But to me, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that looks like a hive, right? And then understanding the background of Kim, the symbolism I got out of this, maybe I'm reaching, maybe I'm not, but I got hive mind. As soon as I saw this image, I was like, are they trying to talk hive mind here? Is that what this photo represents? or maybe it's just nothing, and just that's the decor that he has. I'm very curious to what you guys think, but I'm telling you, within milliseconds of seeing this, what popped in my mind was hive mind when it came to this photo. So again, interested in what you guys think on that. Then let's push forward to this, right? UFC champion Sean Strickland on FBI director Kashyap Patel and his relationship with FBI informant turned UFC manager Ali Abdaz. And why does this matter? Because this is Sean Strickland's another guy that Tucker has had conversations with. And I want you to see, you guys have heard this, right? We were all told this by our parents and our grandparents. You're the company you keep, right? Now, again, I'm willing to be subjective on this with even my own bias to be like, well, maybe somebody's trying to get both sides of the conversation, which in an information war, you guys know my position. I'm completely opposed to that. But let's just say somebody is trying to do that. I'd be okay. But then you wouldn't only be having one segment. You'd be bringing on, you would keep it fair and balanced if that was your intentions. Tucker hasn't done that. So again, you're the company you keep. Now listen to this guy. And let me get this clip ready for you. Here we go.
No, you haven't taken a lie detector test? Oh, okay, dude. I hate Kash Patel so much. Like, Kash Patel to me is like the weakest fucking man in the world. Fucking, like, you look at Kash Patel and you're like, dude, you were as weak as fucking dirt. I cannot stand him. So funny enough, I'm curious your take on this. And this is like, so there's this manager, Ali Abdaz, fucking whatever the fuck, one of the biggest managers in the UFC. Spoke at Trump rallies. Like, manages everybody. Let me tell you this guy's fucking backstory. And by the way, he's best friends with Kash Patel. Best fucking friends with Kash Patel. So I started thinking about this because all these UFC fighters went and hung out with a bunch of FBI agents. I'm like, dude, why the fuck you didn't call me, guys? Like, I love law enforcement. Like why didn't you call me? And I started looking at Ali and all these pictures. One of the biggest managers in the UFC. This is his accolades. After 9/11, it's all in a book. There's a book. It won like the fucking some like fancy award in New York, some liberal fucking award. So it's a very credible book. He gets arrested after 9/11 with a bunch of passports or like IDs or fake documentation. He's locked up on felony charges of like falsifying information. And this happened like weeks after 9/11. This is what I know. Don't fucking sue me. This is what I know. And this is what the book says. So he's in a Colorado lockup. And then he gets approached by the FBI. They called him, they even have his number. Like, this is all factual, what I'm saying. They had his informant number. They have him as a high paid informant, like spying on like, I don't know what organizations, but like some like Muslim Brotherhood, something like, and he's traveling here and there. And he gets out. They give him a lie detector test because they suspect him lying. His nickname was the Dolphin because he would talk so much. They suspect him for lying. So they give him a lie detector test and he fails. And they let him go. He can't, if he leaves the country, they won't let him back in. Like, I mean, he is like, by all information known, this motherfucker is a snitch terrorist that, like, when you look at all pieces of information, and he goes and is best friends with fucking Kash Patel. And I'm sure he goes to Kash Patel like, hey, brother, let me, you want to go meet Khabib? You want to go meet Justin Gaethje? Yeah, go meet Justin Gaethje. And it's like, you just look at these things, you're like, man, dude, like, the fuck, you guys? Like, what the fuck, dude?
It's par for the course.
Definitely par for the course on these people's behavior. And here's the thing: go check out Sean Strickland's timeline, and look at how much that guy pushes out Tucker Carlson's content. Again, look for the support structures. Now, with that, let's get into what Evie put out there. Tucker Carlson was a registered Democrat until 2020. His son, who worked for Vice President Vance, was also a registered Democrat. Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat as well, and Tucker gave her a platform and strongly promoted her for that Trump cabinet position. Tulsi's deputy, Joe Kent, voted for Bernie Sanders in 2016. He lost 2 elections, yet Trump still gave him an important position. His betrayal of Trump has fully been noted. J.D. Vance voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. MTG, for those who were around during the entire 2020 campaign, was absolutely a nobody. She started kissing up to Trump relentlessly, and he eventually endorsed her. That endorsement is what helped her win. I would add to that one, she was also very out there pushing the Q community content to gain that support. I would think those two things actually were very beneficial to her. Her entire political career was made possible by Donald Trump. These people are not MAGA, and they don't really care about President Trump. They care about the post-Trump era, and they believe that they can take over his movement and the Republican Party. Sure, keep us entertained. And she's quote posting Tucker Carlson from about 7 days ago, who put, MAGA was betrayed. We all were. It's time for a new path forward. More tomorrow night at 6 p.m. on tuckercarlson.com. I'm sorry, I wasn't betrayed. MAGA was betrayed by who? By Trump? Securing our borders? Declassifying Epstein? Putting out the Fauci files? John Bolton, who was indicted and now pled guilty? Comey's on the hot seat. Brennan on the hot seat. Now we're hearing James Clapper's on the hot seat. Tariffs, when everybody said it wasn't going to work. I could go on and on and on about what this president has accomplished in 18 months. But these people want to sell you the narrative that we were betrayed. We were betrayed, and Trump's the one that's came in to make it right. But they won't tell you that. These people, again, I love seeing what you guys' comments are in the chat. The Don Road doctrine. I love when people say that. This is their mentality. Again, I get carried away with my commentary tonight. I'm going to do a good job of that. I'll be conscious of it. Jay puts out insane. This folks. Whoo boy. Insane. Tucker Carlson makes wild accusation to cover for Hunter Biden's child porn on his laptop. Quote, the allegations that were made was abuse of minors came from the Israelis. End of quote. That's false. Tucker Carlson, did the Israelis put pictures of Hunter Biden with little girls in lingerie? That was what you're alleging. Did they also plant the text messages between Hunter and his underage niece too? I guess Tucker is the pedo protector now. Now, before I play this clip, one thing I do want to say is what's implied. Now, if you want to say that it's the Israelis, because what you know in the back of your mind, this ties to Epstein and blackmail operations that are tied into the intelligence agencies and tied into Mossad, we'd be on board together there. But that's not how this is being sold. Let me let you guys listen to the clip, and then I'll tell you what I'm talking about.
One thing, though, that this is what I experienced during that time. The allegation that there was abusive minors proven on the laptop, that came from the Israelis. I'm just telling you that. They came to me with that. So I know that. And one of the things that enraged me about the statement from those sleazy intel guys is that they blame the Russians for it. Now, maybe the Russians had a hand in it, but it was the Israelis who were pushing that. Fact. I mean, literally to me.
Yeah.
So,
and you've gone through it.
But they're all such slaves.
Is there anything? I want to clear with your entire, not a single thing in anything that is in any way true about that.
Well, that's such a serious crime that I think it's just common sense that if there was evidence of that.
You think that it's common sense? But I'll tell you what, about 40 million people on X don't think that. I mean, it's like
there was an abuse of minors in there. If there was evidence,
how many people call me a pedophile to this day? Anyway, I'll spare you. But I'm not. But I agree with you. That's exactly right. And it's
But they were pushing that so hard, and all the intel guys were like, "Oh, it's Russia." It's like, you lie, because they called me. I sent one of my producers out to go meet with a guy connected to Netanyahu. They were behind that, and I felt that everybody in DC knew that, but there was so much pressure never to criticize Israel in any way that they were just like, "It's the Russians. It's the Russians. They're the ones penetrating our political system." It's like, you lie. Everyone knows what's actually happening. This was my perspective, and it drove me insane. And by the way, I didn't say that on Fox News. I'll admit it. I didn't.
I'll admit it. I didn't. You've been gone from Fox for a very long time, Tucker. And now you're barely saying that? I call bullshit. Now, again, if you want to make the argument that because we're talking Epstein, Intel blackmail operations tied to the intelligence agencies and Mossad, I'm there with you. But anybody watching this that doesn't watch this podcast or read the stuff that we all study and research, they wouldn't take it that way. They would take what he just said as in, oh, this was the Israeli government or assets of the Israeli government coming to me to push this narrative. That's how he's selling it. That's how Hunter's running with it. And now again, couple of questions here is, Tucker, why would Israeli assets, because he doesn't say what capacity they were in, but he says that they had close proximity to Benjamin Netanyahu. So I would argue either intelligence guys or assets of intelligence guys, maybe even Mossad. But again, Israelis within close proximity to the prime minister of Israel, why did they feel comfortable coming to Tucker to push information about Hunter Biden? Now, for those of you like, what are you saying here, Alpha? If we all subscribe to the idea that Fox, CNN, MSNBC are all controlled by the Mockingbird media and the intelligence apparatus, to which we subscribe to the theory that Mossad, the CIA, MI6 are all in that, then they wouldn't have to worry about Tucker pushing it. They would have Tucker's producers make him do it. Just like Tucker said, I never came out and said it while I was, or admitted that while I was at Fox. So it's one or the other. Either he's saying the media apparatus isn't controlled by the intelligence apparatus, or they're not. But now that he's free on his own, and for the record, folks, Red Seat Ventures, at least a month or two ago, Tucker, Megyn Kelly, a bunch of these other clowns, they are part of Red Seat Ventures. And when you go to Red Seat Ventures website, Tucker's pictures on there, Megyn Kelly's pictures on there. According to Red Seat Ventures, they're the ones that find these people funding and help them with their content. That's their website saying it. Don't quote me exactly on that, but I've brought it up before and showed it to you guys. You know what I'm talking about. Matter of fact, I'll probably grab it here during the next clip to show you guys again. Guess who bought Red Seat Ventures? Fox Corporation. That happened a while ago. Tucker still hasn't come out and told his people about that. It's a clown show. There's Fed slop going on, and it's definitely coming from these guys. Let's keep going. And I mean, protecting Hunter Biden, we're going to get there, folks. We're going to get there. MJ Truth Ultra puts out, Hunter Biden, can you imagine Donald Trump having a thought about using the power of the executive to benefit anyone but himself? I'm telling you, sometimes people need to be hugged around the neck. Just a tight, loving hug, right, is what they need. This is crazy, and you got to hear it yourself.
No. But can you even imagine the people Donald Trump having a thought about using the power of the executive to benefit anyone but himself first?
No.
And that's the thing.
But I also look back on the last 25 years, 20 years anyway, and I can't really think of many big executive initiatives that like benefited the majority.
No, neither do I. And that may be a question about the unitary executive and
it gets worse before it gets better, folks. Bringing it back to Laura Loomer, that some of you love and some of you hate. Don't forget, Tucker Carlson is literally in the Hunter Biden laptop, she reports. That's why he wants to lie and say it was a psyop by Israel. You can find the communications below in the Hunter Biden laptop, which prove the following. Why would Tucker Carlson, a so-called vocal critic of the establishment corruption, suppress the Hunter Biden laptop story and go out of his way to try to rehabilitate the image of Hunter Biden, a known criminal and drug addict? Below is what I posted word for word in 2025. Quote, the answer lies in a web of personal, financial, and strategic entanglements that bound him to the Biden family and their network. Number one, direct investment ties. Documents from Hunter Biden's investor ledger released by whistleblowers in 2020 to 2021 reveal that Carlson was a financial associate in at least one Washington, D.C. real estate venture linked to Hunter Biden and Rosemont entities. While non-controlling, this investment suggests a pre-existing business rapport that Carlson never disclosed to his audience. Emails from Hunter Biden's accounts further show exchanges between the two men from 2014 to 2017 discussing media exposure, real estate opportunities, and reputation management. These ties created a conflict of interest that Carlson concealed while covering Biden-related stories during his employment at Fox News. Number 2, the Ashley Madison scandal. In 2015, the Ashley Madison data breach exposed Hunter Biden's active account, verified by matching credit card details, email, and metadata. Independent researchers, including those at Breitbart, approached Carlson's producers with this evidence, but he declined to report it, citing the story as too volatile and not worth touching. That's a quote. This decision, later described in counter disinformation circles as spiking, shielding Hunter Biden from public scrutiny, and suggested a pattern of protecting the Biden family. Number 3, personal favors. In November 2014, Carlson emailed Hunter Biden to request a college recommendation for his son, Buckley Carlson, the one that was working for J.D. Vance, who was applying to Georgetown University. Hunter agreed to assist, and Buckley was accepted. Also, Tucker's brother's name is Buckley as well. And a lot of people get these people confused when it comes to social media. I wanted to put that out there. That's now back to me reading this. Today, despite the fact that his father had continued to undermine the Trump administration, Buckley Carlson, undermined his Trump administration, Buckley Carlson is the deputy press secretary for Vice President J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance has a long-standing friendship with Tucker Carlson and has been on his show multiple times over the years during his time as a U.S. Senator. The favors that Hunter Biden and Tucker Carlson have done for each other over the years has created a personal channel of influence between the Carlson and Biden families, which Carlson has never publicly disclosed, even as he reported on college admission scandals and Hunter Biden's business dealings. Number 4, and the last one, strategic calculations beyond personal ties. Carlson's decision may have been influenced by corporate pressure at Fox News or a strategic choice to preserve leverage with powerful figures. By withholding the laptop story, Carlson maintained access to insider networks and avoided potential backlash from corporate stakeholders and political operatives. This calculated restraint suggests Tucker prioritizes his personal and professional interests over journalistic integrity. See the email communications involving Hunter Biden and Tucker Carlson below. Now, off topic, but to support the point that Laura Loomer's trying to make here. And I can say this publicly because Doc said it on my podcast. You guys know, I think it was either early this year, maybe late last year, when I have Dr. Artis on the show, when we're doing the segment on nicotine. He brought that information forward to Tucker. Now, I'm not going to give the details of it, but that information was given to Tucker. They reviewed it to verify it, Tucker's team, and they wouldn't air it. They wouldn't bring Dr. Artis on there to share that information that could save lives of people who are injured. Now, here's the crazy part. Tucker has a nicotine product. This would have benefited him. They didn't do it. You can make your own assumptions of why. But when you read this, definitely kind of hints that way. And let me just bring these up real big for those of you that like to screenshot the receipts. There's the email. It's from November 2014. And then here's the other one as well, with obviously some information that's been redacted. Let's keep going because it just gets worse. So Tucker Carlson is the Epstein class. A pedophile protector, fair is fairer, Erica California 47 puts out as she shares this screenshot from Tucker Carlson's social media. And it's an image of Tucker Carlson with his arm around Hunter Biden. Now, I want to remind you folks, you know the stories surrounding Hunter. For those of you that have looked into the Marco Polo laptop and seen those shows and space podcasts, you know how bad this is. This should absolutely disgust you. But y'all want to keep thinking that it's on the up and up. Have at it. I'll remind you of this. The New York Post, extensive Hunter Biden laptop archive with nearly 10,000 photos published on the new website. This is from June 1st of 2023. Let's click on this article real quick. And what we will see here, and again, these ads, I got no control of them populating, folks, but I just want to scroll down here real quick just to remind you of some of these images. This is who Tucker has his arm around. And this last one right there with the meth pipe, crack pipe. Y'all want to defend it? Have at it. Let's keep going. What else do these people push in this narrative and an agenda? Sarah Adams puts out, Shias don't use suicide bombers is 100% false. And she's referencing this clip right here from Joe Kent. So let me play this clip first, and then I'll read you what she wrote.
The whole myth that Iran is full of like crazy suicide bombers and like crazy jihadis. Number one, like that's not the Shias. Like the Shias don't use suicide bombers. The Shias have never come over to America to kill Americans. Now, the Shias have been pretty proficient at killing Americans when we come to their shores, like in Iraq and in Lebanon. But the Salafi jihadis, the ISIS, the Al-Qaeda, those are the suicide bombers. Those are the guys who are like, you know, at all costs, we're going to hit America, who are crazy. And the only solution to them is to hunt them down and to kill them.
I was under the impression you supported those people. If you listen to the internet, holy shit.
No, actually, I mean,
we get that on camera?
One of our, and you can have Joey Warwick check my math on this one. Our big ground forces that we used in the fight against ISIS, it was the Kurds, but also it was the Shia militias. I mean, when I was in Iraq in 2016, we were partnered with the Kurds, but like over just to our south was the Popular Mobilization Forces, right? That had Quds Force advisors. I was there as an American Special Forces advisor. There was Quds Forces advisors over there. We were bombing ISIS positions, and they were advancing on it. They were the ground forces. They were the infantry against ISIS in many cases.
Wow, so many.
So again, let's break this down now. So Sarah Adams puts, Shias don't use suicide bombers is 100% false. Let's start here. December 1981, Iraqi embassy, the bombing, suicide vehicle, 61 killed, 100 wounded. April 8, 1983, U.S. bombing, Beirut, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad organization, suicide truck, 63 killed, including 17 Americans. October of 83, U.S. Marine barracks bombing, Beirut, Hezbollah, linked to Islamic Jihad organization, suicide truck bombing, 240 U.S. service members killed. October 23, 83, French barracks bombing in Beirut, Hezbollah linked Islamic Jihad organization, suicide truck bombing, 58 French soldiers killed. September 1984, U.S. Embassy Annex bombing, Beirut, Hezbollah, suicide vehicle bombing, 23 killed, approximately 90 wounded. March of 92, Israeli Embassy bombing, Buenos Aires, Hezbollah, suicide bombing, 29 killed, 242 wounded. July 18th, 94, Amia Jewish Community Center bombing, Buenos Aires, Hezbollah with Iranian support, according to Argentine investigation, suicide van bombing, 85 killed, hundreds wounded. June of 96, Khobar Towers bombing, Saudi Arabia, Hezbollah, Al-Hejaz, Saudi, Hezbollah, large vehicle bombing, 19 U.S. service members killed, 300 plus wounded. February 2005, assassination of Rafiq Hariri, Beirut, Hezbollah-linked operative, suicide truck bombing, 22 killed, 200 wounded. I think the point has been made, but if there's still confusion, I can continue with an extensive record of suicide bombings carried out by Shia terrorists during the Iraq war as well. Now, the part about this is absolutely insane, folks. I see some of you still want to support Joe. He had the intelligence and knows this. Everything that Sarah broke down right there, he knows. Given why he had the position that he was tasked with to begin with. So why did he outright lie to you? To push a narrative that doesn't support the president, doesn't support the president's administration, and doesn't support America. Let's keep going. Sarah Adams says, they tell you who they are. For those out there that want to convince you that there is no issue with the Islamic extremism, well, you tell me what you think.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Question 755. When the state of Oklahoma voted in a referendum to amend the Constitution to ban Sharia law, what does that mean? I don't know. And yet the voters banned it anyway. And I don't have to tell you that the same exact forces that drove native peoples from their land 2 centuries ago, destroyed Black Wall Street a century ago, bombed a building decades ago, and tried to ban Sharia law not a decade ago, that those forces are alive and well today.
When they tell you who they are, folks, let's keep going because I'm looking at the clock. Real Robert puts out, this is the former director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. The Democratic Party is harboring Islamic terrorists right now within the United States Congress. Quote, and this comes from Gabbard. Earlier this year, there was a conference that was held representing organizations like the Council on American Islamic Relations, also known as CARE, which issued a call to action to use American legal and political systems to overthrow the United States government. Continuing with the quote, this Islamist threat ideology is a direct threat to our freedom because at its core, it is a political ideology that seeks to create a global caliphate that governs here in the U.S. and America, the threatening Western civilization governance by Sharia law. Any of you guys that caught me on OnlyLands this past Friday knows this is the position that I was sharing, right? It is a political party that's tried to hide by adopting religious practice to it. Let's continue with the quote, though. Governance by what they are calling their Islamic principles, and if you fail to comply, if you fail to adhere to this ideology, if you dare to exercise your God-given right to free speech, censorship is what we face. If we don't take action to identify this threat, to define it, to call it out for what it is, and take action to defeat it, then we will find ourselves in a place where many European countries and counties or countries like Australia have found themselves. Countries where you get arrested for praying silently on a street corner, as has happened in the UK countries where you can be arrested for putting up a social media post. This is absolutely wild, folks. In places like Dearborn, Michigan, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Islamist clerics are openly pushing this Islamist ideology, trying to recruit and radicalize young people. You just saw the clip that I played. This isn't fake. Remember, you're the company you keep. Remember, we're still tucking Tucker Carlson, the pod sloppers, right? MJ Truth put out this video. Dearborn, Michigan looks different. Can't put my finger on it. You see the video. And I quote posted and said, this is terrorism sold as religion. Get mad at me for saying it too. It's still the truth. You weak, soft men are why this is in our country to begin with. They want your women and children programmed like this. Sound off, America. It is your country, or is it not? Listen, I can't say on a podcast where we're going to go if you think that the women in my life are going to have this put on them. Ain't going to happen. You'll find out real quick while I was a Marine. Real quick. The White House, a vision for two very different Americas. The communist far-left Democrats like Ab Mohammed al-Sayed are a direct threat to America and the values that defined our nation. Take a listen.
I believe that we do need to defund the police.
I actually believe in court reform, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. In Supreme Court reform. Every president should get 3 appointments. You can either use your appointment to give somebody who's on the court a second 10-year term and limit everybody's terms to 10 years, or you can include somebody else. Would that expand the court? Sure. But there's nothing in the Constitution that says that there have to be 9 justices.
And like the things that I actually look at on Instagram, right? Of course, we get served that on your For You page. But then like every third video that scrolls on its own is going to be some OnlyFans model. I think the foundational issue here is we need to start taxing billionaire wealth, right? And when you tax billionaire wealth, you disincentivize the accumulation of wealth. If you cannot stand for trans rights, do not be surprised when they come for your rights. I look forward to pushing forward legislation that would preempt localities from participating with ICE. We've also got to make sure that in this state, we are not discriminating by documentation status. Right now, if you're undocumented, you don't get access to a driver's license, so you're stuck. You don't get access to a lot of the basic things the state offers everybody else. And I think that's ridiculous. And so we've got to stop discriminating that way. There is no reforming. There is no retraining. There is only abolishing ICE. Fuck ICE. That you can't reform ICE. You can't retrain ICE. You have to abolish ICE. It was a bad experiment. It's been weaponized to do the worst things. And I think we need to abolish it and start from scratch. I think he should be impeached. I do not think he should be president of the United States. I think he's done impeachable things. Obviously, as a future senator, I'm not in a position to impeach. But when they make the case about the impeachable things I have seen with my own eyes, I will vote accordingly.
So do you think that the Israeli government should be considered by the U.S. as a foreign terrorist organization?
It's certainly a rogue state.
You're not going to play the gotcha game, but you're not going to say you think Israel has a right.
Well, the truth of the matter is that these wildfires are happening more often because it's drier and hotter than it has been in the past. It's drier and hotter because we continue to rely on fossil fuels for our energy. We need to get to 100% renewable energy. Number one, put as much sand in the gears into what Donald Trump and his acolytes are doing. And number two, build the conversation with the American public that gets us to the after Trump foundation.
What do you tell those people about whether or not this is a pie in the sky dream that you're going around Michigan talking about?
Well, clearly I'm a different kind of Democrat.
That should terrify you. This is, again, where they're trying to get you. And again, I'm not saying there's not an issue with AIPAC in our government. I agree there is. I'm not a fan of it. But when you only want people to focus there and you take their eyes off that, then I question your motives. Let's keep going. Tony Schaefer puts out 100% correct. Islam is a political movement that uses religion as camouflage. Where have you guys heard that before? Thought this was a great post. This is from a few days ago. And I want you guys to listen to this one.
I think Islam is the Antichrist.
Really?
Yeah, and I say that confidently and boldly, and I'm not going to shy down from it. I love Muslims as people, but Islam as a religion is a religion of war, and a religion of division, and a religion of, if you don't do what I say, you will be punished for it. And I don't agree with it. The first half of the Quran feels very inclusive. Jews and Christians are people of the book. Look to the Torah, look to the Injil to confirm our scriptures. But as you continue to read the book of Islam, it becomes less inclusive and more exclusive. It's either our way or the highway. Here's the first stage. America's in the first stage right now. It looks like woke Islam. They're inclusive. You have Muslims who are okay with trans and homosexual ideologies, but if I went to the Gaza Strip as a gay man and I went in the street and said I am gay, before I could finish that sentence, I'd be murdered in the street. But here in America, the Muslims are okay with it. They're tolerating it. Why? Because they're the minority right now. They're trying to come in. Stage 2 is what's happening in Germany and in Europe. They've invaded that country and basically taken political power. And no, if you say something that you disagree with the Muslims, they're not going to physically hurt you, but you know what they're going to call you? They're going to call you an Islamophobe. Well, you're Islamophobic. I'm not afraid of you, nor am I angry because I hate you as a moral person. I'm angry at what your religion is doing. I'm angry at the division it's causing. And then stage 3 is Islam that you would see in the Middle East. And that is, if you do not convert to Islam, alhamdulillah, they will kill you if you do not conform to their ways. And America's in stage 1. And I believe Islam is the Antichrist because if you look at the eschatology of what happens in Islam, the end times of Islam compared to the end times in Christianity, all the bad stuff for the Christians is like the good stuff for the Muslims.
I mean, kind of sounds like what y'all heard me talking about on Friday. That didn't seem to be a popular opinion with my co-host, but I'll stand my ground. You guys know on that one. Let's keep going and bring this bird to a landing here pretty soon. Colonel puts out, the nuance most will miss is that both Bosnia and Flynn were destroyed by the CIA. 10 years in, and you still have to scratch your head at what people have learned, if anything, and referencing Mr. Truth Bomb. So the same day Laura Loomer goes against Flynn, we see two Anons also turn on the general. Coincidence? Because again, this is all part of the same pod slopper community. And there you have Laura Loomer that posts this photo. Again, like I said, sometimes you love what she posts. Sometimes it just makes you cringe. This is one of the ones that makes me cringe. Having the general sit in close proximity to Putin when you're someone like me that subscribes to the concept of the sovereign alliance, like so many of my other brothers and sisters do at Badlands, one of the things we do agree on, this is good. this is something that I do like. Knowing that the Russia hoax, right, was a hoax, it's relationships like this that actually give me encouragement. And maybe, just maybe, Laura Loomer's playing a role just like the other clowns that you see there. Here's what I'll say, folks, and I'm not going to go off on a tangent because I'm looking at the clock, but I got to say this. Anybody you're watching on your TV screen or your phone screen, unless you know them in real life, you don't know them. You might like the sound of their voice. A lot of you tell me that. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. You might like my personality. You may like my story. But if you haven't met me in person, you still don't know me. You don't know these people. You don't know who's central casting. You don't know who's an agent. You don't know who's an asset. Listen, if I was a bad guy and I was one of the last tiers to flip on Trump, it would exactly look like me, folks. If I wanted to have a massive effect to rug pull Trump, I would have a bunch of people like me that get you to be like, I love Alpha. I like him. I agree with him. He's always been solid. He's always been backing Trump. Then what happens when your loyalty to me supersedes your loyalty to your principle and your conviction and this country and the president? Then it creates confusion because it's what a psyops do, right? Capitalizes on your emotion. Folks, I love your support. What I said was terrible for marketing. I get that, but it's okay because we got a mission. If you're watching people on your TV or your phone and you haven't met them in real life and spent significant time with them, not just a photo op, if you haven't spent some time with them, you don't know them. Know your why and know your mission. So in the end, if even somebody like me takes a position that doesn't resonate with you, you have the strength, the intelligence, and the courage to say, well, I'm done with Alpha 2. I'm moving on. I support this president. I support this country. That's the attitude and mentality you have to have. That makes you ungovernable. That makes you unstoppable. When they can't use your emotions against you. That being, if you like this show and you like all that, hit the heart, hit the thumb, subscribe. It's for free. I know that was terrible marketing. I'm going to get people that are going to be like, bro, that is not how you grow your audience. And that's okay, because I know that you guys understand what I'm trying to explain there. But okay, well let's just move on. We're on the time clock. My mouth was like, dum say that. What do you do? It was like the Matrix, right? The machine wanted to do this to me. All right, we're having fun. Kanoka the Great. Breaking. Andrew Wilson tells Joe Rogan that Candace Owens won't accept $300,000 to debate her theories about Charlie Kirk's murder. Wilson, and I think I have this clip. Let me see, because if I do, I'll just hit play. Kanoka. Nope. I thought I did. Oh, yeah, here we go.
The dinosaurs aren't real one. That one's great.
But have you noticed, like, the flat earthers have fleets of people who will debate their stances? Like, fleets of them who are like, we can't wait to debate with you on the flat earth. It's like, on the other side, though, in this particular conspiracy, you can't get these people to debate their positions.
Like, who won't debate their positions?
We offered Candace Owens, I offered her $300,000 to do a debate. I was like, we'll give you $300,000.
What is her position? What does she think happened?
She thinks that Israel worked in conjunction with TPUSA and Erica Kirk to murder Charlie.
Based on what?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. Nobody actually knows. She's never presented a single shred of evidence thus far that Israel ever worked to murder Kirk, that Erica Kirk certainly didn't. In fact, her position for the longest time was, if Erica Kirk comes out and tells me to stop the conspiracy on this, I will. So Erica did. She went out publicly and she was like, enough. You're just causing more problems than good here as this investigation's going on. And then suddenly Erica's now part of the conspiracy. By the next day, she's trying to cover it up. She's part of the conspiracy too. When I went to the TPUSA HQ and I talked to Erica briefly while I was there, the first thing I did was what I think every normal, moral human being would ever do. I gave her a hug. And I told her how god-awful sorry I was that happened to her. Like, could you even imagine how that's got to feel for her? Especially now that she has tens of thousands of people accusing her of murdering and conspiring to murder and then cover up what happened to her own. I mean, that's like mind-boggling psychological torture on a level that I've never seen.
Yeah, and hindsight is 20/20, but given the reaction, I think it probably would have been better for her to like lay low for a little while.
1000%.
The going out with the sparklers was not a great idea. Like all that was not a great idea because it just seemed insane. And maybe sometimes in grief or when, you know, you're trying to show that they're not going to hold us back, people make choices that could be interpreted in a very bad way.
100%. The interesting thing is I asked her about that. I asked her, like, what's the deal there?
What's with the sparklers?
Well, what's with the aberration in behavior? And she's like, look, I was put in like the worst spot I could ever think of. I was the background character. I was just there to support my husband. That's it. The only reason I even really got involved is because Charlie was so pro-marriage, you know, and he wanted to demonstrate to the world you can be married and have kids, and this is the good life. So when he dies, she takes over, right? This moves over to her control. She says, well, the first thing I want to do is honor his last book. You know, that's the very first thing I want to do. I want to honor his legacy. And she's like, I don't know exactly how to take this position. At the same time, there's expectations for the organization my husband built that I want to honor, right? But, you know, I'm also in the middle of grief. And it's like, I don't know how you balance that position. Who's been in that position ever?
Right. And especially who's been in that position that's not accustomed to being scrutinized in the public eye.
Everything. And it's the lack of charitability that's so bad, too. Like, let me give you an example. If you say, Paul's so lazy, he never gets to work on time, you don't actually mean Paul has never once gotten to work on time. That's not what people mean.
Right.
But the way that these people will scrutinize every detail of what a person does, they can make a liar out of anybody. Because they'll take statements like that, which in the common terms, if you say, man, Paul's never here on time, you don't literally mean he's never here on time. Nobody talks that way. But if you push on everything a person's ever said, tongue-in-cheek, not tongue-in-cheek, they misremember an event, they don't misremember an event, you can make a liar out of anybody.
Right. Yeah.
And that sort of scrutiny from all that public trauma, and it was the most traumatic event Zoomers have ever gone through. The biggest, I mean, a public assassination like this, same thing with millennials.
It also exposed people's character that they were celebrating it.
Oh, yeah.
And they have to feel bad about that. They can't feel good about that. And they have to feel bad about the response because so many people got fired because of it and so many people got attacked online, and rightly so.
But they were
It's just a
desecrating his
cruel-
memorial, and leftists were celebrating that. They were saying they were going to give the guy money who did it.
Yeah.
So this is from August the 5th. So now, almost a week later, you know, because the pot's been getting bigger and bigger as everybody says, I'll put in this money and I'll put in this money. You have whatever podcast. I forget. I don't even know what the pot's up to right now, but I think it was right around 300,000, I think, with everybody's money going in there. So now we finally hear from Candace. So Project Constitution, right? Absolute clown, puts this information out. Candace, this was just a few hours ago too. Candace confirms that Andrew Wilson debate is on and exposes how Turning Point has been working with mainstream Now's or MS Now's Brandy Zadrozny. I say that. My apologies. So let me play this clip from Candace because it's a short one, and then I'll give you guys what I think is about to happen.
Okay, you guys, it's official. The debate with Andrew Wilson is on for Friday, and I'm going to announce who the moderator is today on the show. Also, strange silence from Turning Point USA after I published those uncompressed photos. I don't think we've ever heard them this silent. I guess we wouldn't hear them because they're not saying anything. And I'm going to tell you a bit about the journalists that they were working with. Remarkably, despite the fact that they think a transgendered person, or I guess somebody who's dating a transgendered guy, killed Charlie Kirk, they're willing to work with journalists that are interested in transing children. That doesn't really check out. But of course, Erica has opened the company to them so they could land a hit piece on Candace Owens. Join us at the link below.
First, I'm going to say, any of you falling for those photos that Candace and the Candace Simps have put out there, I'm going to tell you right now, you're retarded. If you can't tell forget the software, use the software, right? I use it just like everybody else. I have different ones to confirm that there's manipulation to the photo. Listen to what I said, manipulation to the photo. But even you falling for that with your naked eye, you're absolutely retarded if you don't think there's manipulation to that photo. 2, go spend a couple bucks. You don't have to buy the expensive one that a lot of us use. You can use some, normal everyday, I just want to check a video or a photo or see if there's manipulation here, and it'll tell you. So that's addressing that. 2, Candace is going to ride this to the 11th hour. It is my speculation that she is going to find between now and then, she is going to orchestrate a way not to debate. Let me tell you why. Candace knows she will be fucking destroyed and embarrassed by Andrew Wilson, who's going to confront her with facts, who's going to call out her speculation, who's going to have her account for everything that she has said and is wrong. Remember, there was no way Tyler Robinson was at the university. Now they've completely abandoned that. You don't think that these are things that she's going to get confronted with? The Egyptian planes, all the retardedness of the people that have been supporting her narrative? Yes. That understanding tells me there's no way she is going to debate. That is my position. So sometime between now and the 11th hour of Friday, she's going to come up with a way to manufacture an excuse that she gets to play the victim role in, just like she did with TPUSA. 2, here's the contingency, because right now her bean counters are weighing out exactly what I'm talking about. Right now, as they go to disclose who's going to be the moderator that she chooses, they're figuring out the contingencies. Here's the contingency if she sees there's no way out. If they tell her no, if you try to manufacture a way out, it's just going to completely look bad for you. So you have to show up, which again, I do not think it is going to happen. But in the event she does, because that's the contingency, this is what it's going to look like. That moderator is going to steal the show. The moderator is going to argue and create so much confusion and displacement in the conversation that we don't even get a debate. And then as they try to correct the moderator to be like, hey, let me answer this, let me talk about this, Candace is going to sell that as, hey, I was there and they were arguing with the moderator. He was being fair or she was being fair. It's going to look like that. But again, if I'm a betting man and I'm going to bet on horse number 17, I'm betting that she's not going to show up. So we will see. Let's keep going to bring up to this one, to wrap this up and put a bow on this conversation piece. Dan Scavino. This is a little bit older. This is from the last days of July, but I felt it very relevant to this last hour that we've had the discussion. Dan Scavino puts this clip, and I have it for you, so let me play it because it's 5 seconds, but listen to what is said.
Smell a rat.
I smell a rat. Smell a lot of rats. But what I found very interesting is the timestamp. I didn't catch it initially because I was caught up on looking something else with this film and Scavino, but it's at 6:15 my time on West Coast. So this would be 9:15 a.m. East Coast, right? So when we go to post 9:15, dated March 10th, 2018, let me zoom in on this to make it easier for you guys to see. In 2013, documents leaked by former NSA contractor Edward Snowden revealed the existence of numerous surveillance programs jointly operated by the Five Eyes. The following list includes several notable examples reported to the media. It's interesting, isn't it? The video, Jack Nicholson saying, right, one more time, just for cinematic impact.
Smell a rat.
We get that post from Scavino with the timestamp that brings us to Snowden, who revealed the existence of numerous surveillance programs. Now, for those that are like, but that's a good thing. Well, if you followed the conversation with me and Josh, these were the surveillance programs that were being weaponized against the deep state. Snowden's not a good guy, in our opinion, or I'll say my opinion. I don't want to speak for Josh. He's not a good guy because he was trying to rug pull the programs that were being weaponized against the deep state, which can, change some things, right? So, and then if we go to the 5 seconds, because it's a 5-second clip, follow the money. It's the key. The truth is mind-blowing and cannot be fully exposed. Also, many are thinking from one point of view, U.S. only. The evil is embedded globally. U.S. is the first domino. Have faith. So, folks, if you haven't done so already, we're approaching that time. We're about an hour and 20 minutes. But again, I want to be able to eat for the next show. So we're going to see how far we can get in the next 50 minutes to an hour. So I'll try to keep my commentary down. But if you haven't done so already, do me a solid. Push that heart, smash the thumb, share this out. I appreciate all your guys' support. And let's get this audience going. We're very, very close to that 2,000 mark of live viewers on Rumble and very close to 1,000 of you watching on YouTube. So everybody can just do a little work right now and share this out. We can probably get over that hump. But anyways, I'm still happy with where we've been. So let's shift gears here and bring it back to Kanoka. And on this conversation with Candace specifically, not Podcanistan. Candace Owens comes out and she was talking over the last, couple months now. I hope I get sued. I hope I get sued. I can't wait to use subpoena against them, right? You've all heard it. She said the same thing about the Macrons, right? Is what Kanoka writes. Now she's seeking to dismiss both cases. So again, listen to this, and then I'll bring that up on the screen for you guys to see it.
Sue me. Sue me. I want subpoena power. I want all of your messages. Please do me a favor today on the Charlie Kirk case. I've been clear. I want all of the smoke from all of you. I don't think you realize how real life this is for me. I went back and listened so hard. I was like, girl, don't care at all. Do not care at all. I'm over it. We're in a new time. It literally is God time, okay? Anything that gets sent to me from a lawyer is now publicized. That's it. Don't care who you are. If you're watching this and you're going, should I scream in front of send it to a lawyer? You probably should.
Sue me. I want all the smoke. This is what the smoke reads like. 7 independent defects require dismissing plaintiff's claims against Owens. She's full of shit, folks. Okay, here's legal court paperwork her attorney submitted to get it dismissed. But what happened? I want all the smoke. I want all the smoke. Well, again, let's read the lyrics to that rap song. 7 independent defects require dismissing plaintiff's claims against the Owens. She's full of shit. And at this point, if you still believe her, it is what it is, right? Darwin's Law. Let's bring this now to Ghost, and I'll fly through these a little quick. We'll probably talk about them this weekend anyways. We already talked about them on Sunday. He goes, worth noting that during a TV interview last week, the new Iraqi National Security Advisor disclosed that terrorist militias causing trouble in Iraq are actually Ukrainian. Kev-linked militants busted an Iraq top official. Ukraine has denied any involvement, dismissing the allegations as unfounded and unsubstantiated. Now, why does this matter? If you guys didn't watch the show I did this past Sunday with Ghost, it's called The Middle East in 30 minutes ish, right? Inside joke for those that have already watched it. You know what I'm talking about. I brought up one of the January 6th suspects when all this was going on. And I started diving in and I started researching every case into every defendant because I knew from my experience and my background that some of those defendants are going to be assets and operatives. And I wanted to find out which one it was because I was pissed, right? They came for me and my family. And I came across one. I was like, bingo, this is what I'm looking for. If you go watch Sunday's show, I bring it up on the screen so you can see the affidavit from the FBI. You can see the photos of this particular gentleman who's wearing a Ukrainian Color Revolution scarf. The FBI has documentation of him being part of the Ukrainian Color Revolution. Shout out Hunter Sabo says, great show. I agree with you. It was a great show. But again, it was showing these operatives, part of the Ukrainian Color Revolution. Now we're seeing them in Iraq. And I want people that are like, no, I'm going to dismiss this. They were involved in January 6th too, folks. You're going to find that out. Mark my words, we are going to find that out because I've already found evidence of at least one. And once we start to comb through that surveillance video to look for the operatives, we're going to find more. Also, Trust in Trump puts out, holy shit. John Solomon says that they have gotten their hands on intercepted intelligence that shows Ukrainian officials were trying to help Joe Biden win the 2024 presidential election using American taxpayer dollars. Listen to this.
There are scores of raw intelligence reports that show Chinese meddling in the American election. And there's one report raising concern that Ukraine was engaged in a plot to do something bad in the 2024 election to help Joe Biden. I want to repeat that. There is intercepted intelligence that the Trump administration has had for many, many months, in which it is suggested by Ukrainian officials that they're going to try to help Joe Biden win the election using American taxpayer money.
If you are enjoying this show and you're like, oh, I like this, Alpha, I love that it's free. Well, then what I would do is I would take this moment, let me go full screen with you guys, if you don't mind for a second, and say, support the people that help support me to keep this show free. I'm talking about Pet Club right here, right? This is the Enforce with Rishi. This is the same thing as the green bottle. So if you go to the website, you see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen there, and you see this bottle. This one and the green one are the same, except this one has the added benefit of Rishi in it. You guys know I take this stuff every day. 2 bottles, the yellow and the blue, I do in the morning part of the day, and then the orange and the red, Restore and Shield, I do during the later afternoon, usually post lunch, pre-dinner is a time frame I do that stuff. And so with that, let me go to my Pet Club commercial. Remember, support these people. AlphaWarrior247.com is the way to get there.
Science proves that a healthy immune system is the body's first defense against the smallest of ailments to the most catastrophic. Coriolus versicolor is the most sought-after, all-natural supplement for both humans and pets to help boost the immune system. There are over 400 studies worldwide on its effectiveness in humans, including Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and now from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine. Together, we can help reverse this terrible tide now plaguing your loved ones and give them the immune-boosting supplements that they need.
So there it is. I see Omid in the chat says, I take Pet Club Plus, red and blue. Shout out. Awesome. I want to remind you guys, when you're at the website, Lee, if you're taking this stuff and you've had an experience, which I imagine you do, share that. Let you guys know what it's like, because you probably do what I do. I go read the reviews. I want to know what people actually say, right? So if you have a testimonial, leave that comment there. Also, if you have a testimonial that means something to you and you don't mind, sharing it publicly for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, connect with me. Email me at alpha@thealphawarriorshow.tv or thealphawarriorshow@protonmail.com. Email me, and if you don't mind sharing that story, I would love to share those clips with the audience, so people don't just hear me talk about it, so you guys can hear each other talk about it, so people know, all right, this works. Like my friends are taking it, and everybody loves it. So again, AlphaWarrior247.com. Get it for you, get it for your pets. Now let's shift gears. Eagle Ed Martin, when guys like Holder get touchy like this, it's a towel. He's worried. And what's he talking about? He's talking about a post from Holder in 2020, February 19th of 2020. Why don't you shut the hell up? Your bias is showing. I bet you've never been a prosecutor or have any idea how the DOJ works. People like you who want to use the justice system for political reasons are both dangerous and ignorant. The case was like you, an obvious loser, referencing Paul Sperry's post, right? That's panic, folks. That's panic. That is something for me and you to start to grin about, because when Eagle Ed Martin goes and he pulls something from the archives back in the day, like this 2020 post, he's telling you something, okay? Who's Holder tied to? Obama and crew, right? It's coming, folks. It's coming. And I'm going to keep flying through this because I want to get to the part that has me shit grinning. You guys are like, why is the Alpha so pumped up tonight? If I don't mention it here, we'll get to it in DEF CON. Let's get to Enoch. The FBI liked to hide Comey files from searches by spelling it corny in the files. For those of you that have followed the boards, you know misspellings matter. You've seen that what they've done with Comey is it was RN instead of the M, Y. And what we've learned in the last couple of days or a week or so is now that the disclosures are coming out, we're realizing the misspellings in order to evade or make it more difficult when it came to FOIA requests. Folks, the act of doing that is a conspiracy. That alone is a crime. They forked up. The cover-up is what always gets them caught. So let's keep going. Matt Beebs puts, hey, Jimmy, can you explain to us why they used a 0 instead of an O? Just normal hiding from FOIA searches or something even more sinister? Cute tweet from 2017, by the way. You learn any lessons on how corrosive your symbolic cryptic games yet are, traitor? And again, there you have it, Oxford, comma, and you have the misspellings there. Folks, these people are toast, but it gets better. MJ Truth Ultra Gum doubles down. Have you ever seen a politician, journalist, or deep state operator post something that makes 0 sense or uses weirdly specific out of place language? I know you guys have, because we bring that to your attention, because that is one thing I specifically go and hunt for. This is how they signal to one another, and it grants them perfect, plausible deniability. May 9th, 2017, Trump fires Comey. May 16th, 2017, FBI opens a full criminal probe into the sitting president as a possible Russian asset. Code name, Oxford, comma. 6 months later, November 2nd, 2017, while the secret investigation was still live and still targeting the man who removed him, Comey stupidly tweeted, check the actual cover. I'm all about Oxford commas. The phrase, symbolism will be their downfall, right? So will Eagle. That phrasing closely resembles the exact code name of the investigation, Oxford, comma, which they were investigating Trump, the sitting president, as a foreign. Holy crap. The tweet wasn't about a book cover. It was a status check, a loyalty signal, a quiet high five to the people involved trying to target the president who removed them. He publicly claimed ownership of it while it was still highly classified and when he had absolutely zero business knowing. The files that dropped today just destroyed him. So let me click on this so you guys can see it. And there's the post from Comey, November 2nd, 2017. Check the actual cover. I'm all about Oxford commas. And then, of course, we get here to the disclosure, Federal Bureau of Investigation. We have redacted, Oxford, comma, Foreign Agents Registration Act, Russia, sensitive investigative matter. Folks, they are done. Done. This is evidence of that. Let's keep going. The White House puts out newly declassified memos show the FBI opened a criminal probe specifically targeting Donald Trump in May 2017, even though the Bureau's own evidence overwhelmingly showed at that time that there was no collusion with the Kremlin. Read the memos. And again, we have this quote. This comes from John Solomon reporting on Comey. The FBI opened a criminal probe specifically targeting Donald Trump in May 2017, even though the Bureau's own evidence overwhelmingly showed at the time that there was no collusion with the Kremlin. So there's an exact quote for those that always say, give the quote credit. Well, there it is, John Solomon. Let's keep going. There was supposed to be another one on there. Maybe it's on this one. John Solomon puts, like Oxford, comma, the March toll probe relied on flimsy evidence, a letter from 2 Democrat senators that was weeks old, and a story from left-leaning Huffington Post. Not going to read into that, but I will read this section. The probe was open in the same 24-hour window as the Oxford comma investigation that claimed without evidence that Trump fired Chief James Comey because he was acting as a Russian asset. Both got referred to special counsel Robert Mueller. Do you guys see how this is all coming together? I hope that I'm positioning these and unfolding this timeline in a way that you're like, okay, I get it. I see where this is going. Let's keep going. John Solomon, John Thune, and Tom Kahn are blocking the DOJ from obtaining the Brennan transcripts, and Todd Blanche has failed to force release. Now, again, this is from August the 5th. And me and Josh, we came out and said it. I even said it before that show on some spaces and one of my earlier shows. We're not going to see those moves until Todd Blanche is confirmed, because you don't want that from an acting AG, because he's never going to become the sitting or the confirmed AG. And now we're here. But nonetheless, it's still an important one to play. So let me hit play here.
I'm going to go back to being a reporter for a second. I do not know this information from anything I've gained in government. I can tell you with 100% certainty that Republicans are obstructing the investigation into weaponization. There are 2 Republicans I can name by name, Senator John Thune and Senator Tom Cotton. They have refused for months now. The first request came in late January, early February. They are refusing thus far to provide to Joe DeGenova, to the prosecutors in Florida, to the Miami U.S. Attorney, to the Justice Department, the transcripts of John Brennan's interviews with the Senate Intelligence Committee. They have refused to do so. I'm going to call out a third name because I don't understand the Justice Department's behavior. When a body that's separate of the executive branch doesn't comply, every other time in American history, go back to Iran-Contra, go back to Watergate, the Justice Department subpoenas the Congress. For some reason, the acting Attorney General, who wants to be the permanent Attorney General, has not authorized a subpoena to the United States Senate to get those documents. Those documents will allow the prosecutors in Miami to decide whether the charges are warranted against John Brennan. The idea that Republican senators will not cooperate with a Republican administration is ridiculous politically, but it's illegal. It's obstruction. There ought to be a grand jury subpoena sitting in the Senate clerk's office, and there ought to be a court case yesterday compelling this because the Justice Department has been delayed by 8 months by 2 Republican senators who have the responsibility and the ability to deliver this. You want to get to the grand conspiracy case, you need the missing evidence, and the Senate possesses it. And as of this date, I can find no evidence they've turned it over, and there is no grand jury subpoena because the clerk of the Senate would have to report it publicly. I just checked the congressional record again today. So Todd Blanche, Tom Cotton, John Thune, you got some explaining to do to the War Room Posse.
So now we watch Todd Blanche. Now, again, Thune and those clowns, no excuse, right? But now, folks, eyes on Todd Blanche. There's a reason I showed you in that walk-in video that he did, okay? Think of it as when you see the NFL teams come into the stadium coming out of the tunnel, right? That is what you saw. You saw him going into the game time moment, except this administration's been posting a lot of memes of no more games, right? I think you guys are tracking. Which brings us to General Flynn on this matter. Wow. Comey knew, which means many others inside real Donald Trump's 45th administration knew. And yet here we are still having to fight to declassify records in order to run proper and lawful investigations. Better late than never, I guess. Was Mike Pence aware? Folks, okay, do you hear what the general is saying? Not only was there a move to subvert the entire United States of their vote for a president, not only was there a grand conspiracy RICO case to go and then topple this president, not only were there more conspiracies and future RICO cases that were going to unfold as they tried to assassinate this president, frame this president. It happened with a vice president that was present for COVID, tied with Anthony Fauci, Deborah Birx. All of it, folks, the entire thing, it was war. And you have a military general who is an expert when it comes to wars telling you or asking, presenting the question, was the vice president aware? Do you think he's asking a question he don't know the answer to? Q Truth Seeker 1 puts out breaking. The U.S. Senate has just rejected the Save America Act as part of the Budget Reconciliation 4850. Would have required voter ID and proof of citizenship nationwide. Republican nays, Tom Tillis, Lisa Murkowski, Mitch McConnell, Weekend at Bernie's Mitch McConnell, and Susan Collins. Unbelievable. It needed 60 votes. Why can't the Senate pass what over 80% of Americans want? You guys know the answer to that because I've been saying it. Let's keep going because we're going to bring this one to a nice little landing. Seth Keshel, I need to get Keshel on this show. Forecast in the House, 208 Republicans, 203 Democrats for safe and leaners, 24 seats decisive, and how I view them from a GOP perspective. So you understand the war that's in play now. And why all this in play? What have I been telling you guys since last year? Right? What have I been telling you about since Trump even introduced the SAVE Act when he came out and said, no, it's the Save America Act? What have I been telling you guys? It is not going to pass. And the reason being, for those of you who read my Substack article book that we talked about last night, what is the plan? This is the moment I was telling you guys about, and Trump hinted at it. You want to talk about flares, fireworks, popping smoke. This is that. What's the general talking about when he says, good, just do it? Listen to this. This is the most important video clip you will hear today. So let me hit play.
Because it's so hard to get the Senate to do anything, now they're on recess, they don't get anything done if they never get the Save America Act done. You have the right to declare a national security emergency for elections. And the Supreme Court ruled in 1983 under Reagan that INS versus Chadha, that if you declare a national security emergency as the President of the United States, they can't challenge it. It can only be overturned by a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress. So if you do this in the next month, we will get photo ID, proof of citizenship, and a limit to mail-in ballots. And
Let
you
me
don't
just say
even
that
need
stranger
the
things
Senate
have
vote.
happened. Okay, I'll leave it at that.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
Let me just leave it at this. Stranger things have happened. If y'all were doubting me, you ain't doubting me no more. Go check social media. Go check podcasts. I was the first human being on this planet to make this statement that the Save America Act is not going to pass, and it's not going to pass because it was never intended to pass because Trump is going to declare a national emergency. And what did he just say? Let's just say stranger things have happened. And what has arguably one of the greatest military generals saying right there as well? Good. Just do it. Great Nike commercial. With that, let me look at the clock. All right, we can get through this next section within the 30 minutes. Let's roll through this and see how far we can get. Ghost puts this out. Accelerate, agree with him on this. Israeli ministers demand Netanyahu cancel the Gaza stabilization plan. Smotrich and Strzok call the U.S. Black Roadmap a death trap, urge blocking the ISF from entering Gaza, warning that it would pave the way for a Palestinian state. What's this tie into? Israel rejects Trump's 15-point Gaza plan. Netanyahu says, allegedly the greatest ally. He ain't acting like the greatest ally when it comes to something like that, which takes us to why. Well, before we get here, let's go back to this one real quick. We knew that Israel, and again, when I say Israel, I'm referencing the government, the intelligence, the IDF, Mossad. We knew that they were going to try to rug pull Trump's arrangement with Iran. How did we know this? Because if you go look at an article that I wrote a very long time ago, before October 7th and all that stuff ever even happened, I said there's two boogeymen. There's Hamas and there's Iran. And both those big men, the little one of Hamas and the big one of Iran, are controlled by the deep state apparatus being facilitated through the Israeli intelligence network, which is tied into all the intelligence networks. And I said in that post, if I've showed it on the show multiple times, I'm not going to do it now in the interest of time, but you guys have seen it. You can go search it. I said, you're going to see two regime changes right around the same time. One in Iran and one in Israel. And that's when you're going to know we're in the final stages. And again, we have an election coming up in Israel in October, and we've seen the regime change that has happened in Iran because we've been blowing the shit up out of the IRGC. So this is the remnants of their plan that's just not going to work because they don't have the pieces anymore. They have enough pieces to create some moves, to create, to put smoke in certain areas, but it's not enough to manifest or deliver what their mission objective was. They're going to fail. But again, we're seeing the optics of that. And why? Because, folks, breaking China's playbook for the Iran war. China arms Iran while hollowing out America's supply chains. This is fifth-generation warfare, 5GW, playing out in real time. Read this and understand what's at stake at our national sovereignty. China's playbook, arm Iran, then capture America's supply chain. And what you've seen with the Strait of Hormuz and Venezuela was Trump beat them to it. People are like, well, isn't Trump trying to open up the Strait of Hormuz? He says it's open. He says it's closed. What makes you guys think he wants it open? How much of China's CCP oil comes through there? So if it's closed, who is that affecting in the physical presence of oil? Well, China. So think that Trump don't know what's going on. He knows his playbook. The general knows his playbook. And because the general knows his playbook, it would be my assertion or assumption or both that he's absolutely made sure that the president is aware of that. Which then takes us to this one. Natalie Winters puts out, revealed China Link influence group paid to cultivate dozens of U.S. journalists and manufacture positive coverage of the Chinese Communist Party. CNN, NPR, New York Times, Washington Post, Reuters, NBC, Bloomberg, Political, Vox. Here are their names. Now, as we close out this China part tied into Iran and everything else, I just want to say, and people say, why you always say I told you so? Because I worked for it, right? Because I went out on a limb with my research and what I do in my assessments to say things that people wouldn't say because it wasn't trending and it wasn't popular. That's why I say that, right? It's my moment. Let me have my moment. I was telling everybody that this was happening, that I was witnessing it. I even provided specific timetables and told people, go do this yourself so you can see for yourself of what I'm talking about. And I was telling people to go into these virtual town halls, aka X spaces, during the evening hours and start putting out negative commentary on China or the CCP. And I said, if you had a medium to moderate, if not larger account, you would see within less than 30 minutes, and depending how large you were of an account or how popular that space was, as fast as 10 to 15 minutes, 2 people come in, one actively pro-CCP, one acting like they're on the edge of it, that then get into this debate where the pro-CCP wins the other person over, and they say, oh, this is all propaganda. Again, I'm not going to rehash the entire thing. There was a lot to it. I said that a long ass time ago, and what did I tell you? I started documenting these people, these profiles, and creating these intelligence folders for my own assessments, wink and a nod, right, on what they look like. So then I could see who else do they operate with, whose other material they promote. And so when people say, well, how do you tie these people? And how do you know these people are probably pro-CP or pro-CCP? Well, it's very funny when a lot of them share the same bot networks. To be continued when it comes to that. Let's fire off into this one. Sean Purnell, effective immediately, the Department of War has revoked former Secretary of Air Force Frank Kendall's eligibility for access to classified information and his ability to hold sensitive information or sensitive position. This action follows his unauthorized disclosure of classified information regarding Air Force One's capability to a media outlet. Safeguarding classified information is a non-negotiable duty. Who's violate that trust to forfeit the privilege of access for a role or any role requiring it. What are we talking about, folks? If you were watching, I think it was Death Con, or was it Overwatch and The Guardian? It was one of those two, because it happened live, or like we were literally live when the whole airplane the debacle happened. Or it might have happened that day. I don't remember if it was live. But if you guys remember, I said, I go, look at when Air Force One left. I said, one, they're going to run their checks. They're going to run, well, I'm not even going to go into the how it's done. But before Air Force One leaves that ground, they are confident with what's on Air Force One and what's going on with Air Force One. You guys get the point I'm trying to make. They're not going to all of a sudden develop an issue that's significant mid-flight over the pond, right? Not going to happen, but yet it did. And so when we saw the deployment of Air Force One, do you guys remember what I said? I said, this is a leak operation. Just watch. Just watch. This is going to turn out to be a leak operation. I said, let's see who gets repositioned to BFE or who gets fired or demoted. And here we are. On top of that, had this conversation with my brother CanCon as well. And CanCon puts, I called this on July 9th and again on the 16th. This was a high-level leak. But here's the question I still have. What did former Secretary of the Air Force Frank Kendall specifically say? Why did he know? What is based on photos also called that? Or was it told by someone deliberately and then used the photos to verify, not realizing that Air Force One probably has a new tech he wasn't aware of, which we also talked about when we said, remember Trump said, there's communication tech on there that nobody's ever seen. This story isn't done yet. My brother would tag me on it, and I'm going to play this clip for you guys because it is pretty cool.
Told CNN the new plane appears to lack external modifications to the tail cone associated with a type of directional infrared missile defense system. However, the absence of visible features do not definitively establish which systems are or are not installed. That is another direct hat tip or pat on the back for what I said last week, that somebody might look at Air Force One, and if somebody tells them, hey, it has no anti-defense capabilities, and they're like, hold on, let me look at it. Holy shit, they're right. But in reality, it has a new, higher classified defense system that's not visible, or at least not visible in the same way that the older system was, more sophisticated. Maybe it's using artificial intelligence. Maybe it's using quantum to hack into the, warheads and be able to deflect, whatever it might be. It was something, and I said this last week, it has anti-defense missile capabilities. It just might not be the status quo, what has been previously been used. And when somebody is told, hey, it doesn't have anti-defense missile capabilities, they're like, let me confirm, looking at pictures, and they're like, yep, it doesn't have it, but it does. There's no possible, and I'm going to swear here, so cover your ears, there's no possible fucking way Air Force One does not have anti-defense missile capabilities. Period. So this whole trap was brilliant. Now, here's the part I want to add on to what you were saying, Alpha.
Well, real quick to that part before you go, is when you look at President Trump's motorcade, do you see any defense mechanisms on these vehicles? No, I'll tell you right now, they got some massive defense mechanisms. So just because you don't see it, don't mean it ain't there.
And granted, a lot of it's told, it's completely sealed off from outside air. It's got his blood type, it's got blood packets inside of the thing. It's, reinforced doors. The wheels can run like you can't, it can withstand RPGs, it's, yeah. But there's still defense capabilities that we don't even know about on these things. Here's what I want to add on to, and the reason why I think the federal agency that said don't comply with this, there's only 2 agencies here that would have people, I think, that would be in the know of this, and that would be the Department of War, because they maintain and operate Air Force One, and the CIA. And the capabilities of Air Force One, the defense capabilities especially, are classified at one of the highest levels, right? This isn't something that, like, if you have top secret clearance, you can know the defense capabilities of Air Force One. This is need to know only. There's probably, and again, I'm, being totally speculative on this. I would say there's less than a handful of people that know the real uncompartmentalized capabilities of Air Force One. They know every aspect of it. Maybe a few dozen that know about anti-defense missile capabilities. So it's not a very big field of people that they're running this trap on. And it, I would suspect that we're going to see somebody with stars on their chest in trouble for this, or it could be going the other way in the civilian sector, somebody in the CIA. But again, that we'll probably never know. So I don't know. This is going to be somebody very high up that leaked this to the press.
And well, now cat's out of the bag. That was a solid one. I hope you guys enjoyed. That's Badlands Daily, folks. For those of you who are not aware, I do this on Thursday mornings. It's 7 a.m. my time Pacific, so 10 a.m. East Coast. So if you guys want to see me on Badlands Daily when Brother CanCon, that's Thursday mornings. And then we reconvene later that evening at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, where we do our veteran show, Sit Rep, for those of you that are unfamiliar with that. So wanted to put that out there. And then this will bring it to here, and then we're going to put a bow on it for now. Paul Sperry puts out prosecutor DiGenova pursuing multiple conspiracy cases and the Russia Gate probe. That'll be the final I told you so for tonight. As you guys can tell, looking at the screen, this area, can you see my little mouse? All the way to this area is a fantastic comms and Q community information. It's too important for me to try to rush through it. So I'm going to put that off to either tomorrow night after Operation Gladio, or I'll do it as a Friday day show, because it's really good stuff. And I don't want to rush through it just because I'm on the clock here. So I hope you guys understand. You guys know the way I am. I'm not going to do it just to do it. I spent time on putting it together, and I want to make sure that I put the information out there correctly. So I'm going to pull this off the screen, and we're going to get into our Rumble rants and our super chats. And then actually, I do have video for the way out for you. Actually, I'll bring that up afterwards. So I have a cool video for you guys on the way out. And I think this will survive over there on YouTube. So if you haven't done it yet, push the heart, smash the thumb, leave a comment. I read your guys' comments. You guys, I don't know if you guys go through them. I go through and I reply, and I also look for the fake ones. Listen, if somebody's in the comments and they're saying this is the Telegram channel or this is, give me, don't. I will never solicit your information. There's a lot of scammers that are out there. There's 3 ways you can communicate with me that I push on the podcast. It's alpha at the AlphaWarriorShow.tv or the AlphaWarrior Show at protonmail.com or alphawarrior.tv. You can go to that website. That's how you can communicate with me. If you're on different platforms, you can communicate with me on that platform, but I am never going to hit you guys up in the comment section. So when you see that, bring it to my attention. And Rumble's been pretty good at getting rid of those. I haven't had that issue on YouTube, so knock on wood, it doesn't ever become an issue. So with that, let me bring on the screen, because we got quite a few Rumble rants and super chats. You guys were out in support tonight and last night. You guys, tell you what, probably like, you don't have to say it, but I will. Me and my family, we appreciate you guys. It was, where my life was a year and a half ago before Trump became president. For those of you that don't remember, I won my case on January 13th of 2025. On January 12th, I was making plans on groups of people that I could connect with to take care of my family in the event that I lost my trial against the government in my fight to being here. Definitely grateful to my creator, and definitely grateful for you guys, the audience, that he's provided for me. So I just want to say thank you on top of, the financial support, because it does mean something. So with that, why is my mouse tripping? Okay, there we go. All right, so like Kim K, start from the bottom now, or her. $5 coming in from Lee Walden. Ahoy, Alpha family and crew. Hope all is well in this wacky world of the big ugly. Stay the course. We got this. I'm with you, Lee, but it's not an ugly world. There are ugly people in this world, but this world is so beautiful. It is a beautiful, beautiful world. It just, the bad have a way of making it into the headlines, right? But I'm with you on that, Lee. $2 from Emerald Dragon 1333. Hey, Alpha, the video where they are talking about the media going after them and then pauses and says war. I thought you might find it interesting that the lyrics of the song is run, not war. Oh, that's right, because they would play it with those guys that were acting like the Hajis. Run. That's right. You are right on that. Yeah, you just put some funny videos into my head there, Emerald. Emerald. So, or no, it is there. Is it Emerald Dragon? I've been saying Emerald Dragon the whole time. Dang, I've been jacking it up. You're over here supporting me, and I can get the name right. I'm sorry. $2 from Lee Walden again. I own a rock quarry and have a special on custom-made millstones and special hemp for Hunter Biden for. I ain't going to go any further with that, Lee, but I got you. I'll give you the wink. Holy smokes. Damn. $100, the Boom Diggity, the big old Benjamin. Every time. God bless you, Boom, and everybody. Trump corollary, Larry, damn it, that's also hard, says any significant migration into the U.S. is a security threat and states the right to deploy U.S. military force against cartels or criminal organizations anywhere in the hemisphere. Here, I want to comment to this real quick, Boom, because this is important, because I get it says any significant migration, immigration, invasion. I'll couple them all together. But here's what's important, just so people understand the gravity, right? I tell people in the war that I was a part of, 2003 in Iraq, when you look at the most U.S. forces that we ever had in Iraq at one time, at the height, the most U.S. forces we had was a little over 300,000. And if you guys remember, whether you're watching it on CNN or Fox, if you remember seeing the infographics, it looked like we had troops everywhere. We did, right? Over 300, I think it was like 360,000 or 330,000. It was over 300,000 troops. And you saw how much that looked like. The conservative, this is what mainstream media acknowledges, of illegals that came into our country under Biden's administration is 12 million. The people that I've talked to and some of the people that I've done shows with say that number is closer to the upper 20s to 30 million. So think about what I just said when you saw the graphics of the military. And that's only over 300,000. We're talking at a minimum 12 million that came into this country. That's an invasion. That is a military deployment into the United States. So that one fires me up. Boom diggity wasn't done, folks. $50. The down road doctrine is eventually going to have to confront the Brits in the Falklands, in my opinion. We then get to Admiral Byrd and what the fuck is in Antarctica, in my opinion. Eagle Ed knows, hence we need to pray like him. Listen, I already told you folks, let's get some Starlinks. Let's go rent a huge ship. Let's put cameras everywhere. So if they try to take us out, it'll be on camera and we'll be martyrs. And let's just go for Antarctica and let's just figure it out ourselves and see what's going on. I'm just playing. I would never advise anybody to do anything crazy, but I'm down if you're down. But yes, I'm definitely on board. And to the part with Eagle Ed Martin, that man prays a lot and he's always posting it. And I agree with you. When you pray that much, you love the Lord and you know something's coming. And then, what is it? This double? Oh, no, it's the second one. Damn, Boom. That's $200. Jeez. Thank you. $50. Boom diggity. A reminder that General Flynn's book called out the AFC from the 1940s for a reason. Go and look over who those players are with today's eyes. There, you guys got it. America First Committee on Wikipedia. Let me grab that and drop it in the chat in case some of you came in late and you want to see it. Right here. There it is. It's in the chat. Let me drop it in the chat for the YouTube audience. Boom. Now y'all both got it. Sweet. Thank you again, Boom. That's a lot, Boom. So thank you. $10 coming in from Princess of Galindo's. You the bomb, Alpha. That's so cool. Thank you. And also for that amazing work of finding that J6 operative. By the way, Ghost is killing it. I'm telling you, man, that show with Ghost was cool. It was a good show. I always like the shows that I do, but every now and then you're like, damn, that was a good show. So if you guys haven't seen Sundays, I definitely tell you go and watch it. And then dollar for dollar from Danish 27. Josh is talking shit on XRP. Does he know what's up? Nah, listen, as smart as Josh is, he can't be perfect, and XRP will be his downfall. So y'all know me. I own them both. I got me a little Bitcoin. I got me a little XRP because listen, the odds say I'm going to get at least one of them right. And if both of them are right, we're good. So yeah, make fun of Josh when he talks about XRP. I'll give him some shit tonight on DEFCON too. $2 coming in from Lee Walden. Alpha, much appreciate your work and dedication. I consider you our gumshoe coup on the beat, always thumbtacks and colored string and a Duck Tracy hat and yellow Roadstar, ready to chase the bad guys. I miss that life, Lee. I love what I do. I don't want you guys to think I don't, but I miss holding my detective badge. I do. Not I got to experience all the action, but that was something I worked hard for, and I do miss it. I still do it here, but you know, when you have that medal in your hand, that medal's on your hip, that medal's on your chest, it's I miss it. $5 coming in from Larry 5673. Keep going, keeping it real. 100% Larry. $5 from Illinois Danny. I missed most of the show tonight, but I'll be playing it from the beginning tomorrow. See you on DEFCON. No sweat. Illinois Danny, you're always in the show, so I got you. $10 from Flying Storm Alpha. You got to eat, don't forget, and make your coffee. I know. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, we're good. We're good. Y'all know because you know I'm going to do the late shows. I'm going to have coffee. So hey, it is what it is. I love my coffee, and I love the fact that we've been doing this long enough that we have this TV, internet, podcast relationship. You guys know what I like. And my boy Cam. Damn, Cam, I miss you, man. Not doing that show earlier this week. I miss you, brother. What does Cam say? $20. Strangely enough, the beauty of the world is made more beautiful when contrasted against the ugly. Morale at full mass. Beauty wins because God wins. Love you, brother. I like that. And you know, Cam, you don't have courage without fear. You don't have mercy without pain and struggle. You don't have love without hate. You know, I get it, man. I get it. And I'll tell you what, you know, before we get into the super chats and then the video for you guys on the way out is, you know, a lot of times people will be like, man, I'm so sorry for what you experienced. And I'm just like, yeah, it sucked. It sucks. But the worser the things were that I got to experience, the more joy and appreciation I have for things that I think a lot of people take for granted when it comes to life. You know, so, you know, it's a hard cost to pay, but if you can keep your wits about you, you can keep your faith and you can keep positive, you also get to experience. I know for a fact I experienced the world in a way I think less than 1% of the world gets to experience. So even though I've experienced the worst that less than 1% got to experience, I also get to see God's creation in a way that a lot of people don't get to. I think that's a fair trade-off. So not going to complain about that. So let's shift gears over to the YouTube family because there's a lot of support came in from you guys too. Let me just make some adjustments so I can see my screen back to normal. You guys don't know the weirdness that we do with the zooming in, zooming out, because you guys just see what's the rectangle here. But let's start it off with Sherry Meyer 6860, 1,000 joules GOAT trophy, like that. Holy smokes. Sherry Meyer's coming back with $50 super chat. Love you, Alpha. I go to bed early, so I never get to see you live. I'm a mail carrier, so trying to make up for lost time. Okay, I'm going to bed. See you on the replay tomorrow on my route. One, thank you for what you do. I don't think people realize how important our mail carriers are. Shout out to the movie The Postman, right? But when you do watch this part, Sherry, just know that you're appreciated. And I hope you enjoy the show. I hope your route is safe, and I hope the weather is beautiful for you. And I hope that people come out when they see you say good morning or good afternoon. And I hope that my audience, when you see your postal carriers, good morning, good afternoon. Like, let's make being kind and polite a thing again. Miss that. Continuing on, Cat Looking Up. 2 joules, silver star. I like it. Cat Looking Up again, 2 joules, 100. That's what I like. Oh, it looks like we're on a rampage right here. Just started saying, let's do it. Let's do it. So I'm good. Cat Looking Up. 10 joules, the floating heart. Cat Looking Up, 10 joules, the gold coin. There's my imaginary gold coin. Cat Looking Up, 2 joules, sparkles. Think of the firework thing. Someone can AI it into my hand. Cat Looking Up, 2 joules, 100. Cat, did you just figure this out like me? Because you went ape shit on it. I absolutely love it. I'm here for it. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Cat Jules again, 2 joules, the silver star. That's 2 silver stars. So that makes me a major general, right? Does he be my little general? That was the acronym. That's how we learned it, folks. So two silver stars makes me a major general for tonight's show, folks. And then Elite Savior, 2 joules, silver star. That's 3. So that makes me a lieutenant general right now. So just keeping tabs of that. Amy Harrington, 440 joules, UNC alert, the UNC alert, which nobody has still told me what the UNC UNC alert is. So y'all just have me in suspense, and you'll double down. Stacy Dunks, 440 joules, the UNC alert. And then we got another, holy shit, another $50 super chat. Let's see, Doster Chick. Thank you for all you do for us. God bless. Oh, God bless you too. Thank you. And thank you for supporting me and my show and my family. Phone Widow 3211, 440 joules, UNC alert, UNC alert. $20 super chat coming in from Macomb Blankenship. Wish I could catch all of your shows. You are awesome. Thanks. Blankenship. I'm just curious, Macomb. Don't answer in the chat because I don't want you doxing yourself. But if that's the last name, out here in SoCal, there was a company, Blankenship, and they custom made our plate carriers for us. And there was a cool little story behind the Blankenship name. So if you're part of that name or not, thank you. But just wanted to share that with you because I thought it was kind of cool. And then last one coming in from Denise Blaine, 3737, 10 joules, thumbs up. And that will conclude that. So now let me get the final video for tonight on the way out. But before I play the video, I want you guys to know what set it up for me going for this. So I'm trying to get something without letting the cat out of the bag on something else. All right, there we go. So let me bring this up on the screen. I think you guys really enjoyed this video too. But this was what set it up. You have the Department of War CTO, send me 11:05. Now there's some timestamp stuff to that, but I wanted to share that with you just to let you know where this final video came from on the way out. So again, you guys, DEF CON in 29 minutes over there on Badlands, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 Central. If I did my Marine Corps math right, do me a solid on the way out, folks. Hit the heart, hit the thumb, leave a comment, share it. I'll catch you guys in about 30 minutes. Good night. God bless and enjoy the song.
Cursed be the ground for our sake. Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you. For out of the ground we were taken, for the dust we are, and to dust we shall return. But no darkness will overcome me. I rise from the dust, because the breath of God is in me. I discipline my body, and keep it under control. The Lord is my strength, and my shield. My heart trusts in him, and I am helped. Though enemies rise up against me, the Lord will strike them down. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but victory belongs to the Lord. I stand firm on the rock that cannot be shaken, Christ Jesus. I call upon him, and he hears me. He trains my hands for war, and my fingers for battle. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And I said, Here am I, send me. Send me into the storm, send me into the darkness, where light is needed most. Send me to stand when others flee, to build when others break, to speak when others stay silent. For I was not made for comfort. I was made for the fight. I was made for the fire. I was made to carry the banner of Christ into the chaos. Though the world shakes around me, my foundation stands. Though my flesh grows weary, my spirit will not faint. For the Lord is my refuge, my fortress, and my commander. And when the day of battle comes, I will not be found sleeping. I will be found standing. And when my strength is spent and my armor is worn, I will lift my eyes to the hills, for my help comes from the Lord. He renews my strength like the eagles and sets me upon high places. So I march onward through trial and fire, for I know in whom I have believed, and I am convinced that he is faithful.